A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
There she is. That's Molly Goldberg, folks. A woman with a place in every heart and a finger in every pie. And now the makers of New Does, that new kind of soap for everything right down your wash line, bring you another visit with those good folks, the Goldbergs. It seems like I've been the cause of a lot of wash day arguments lately.
You certainly have.
Oh, but really, I don't...
Did you or did you not say does everything in the wash?
Well, sure. I said does is a new kind of soap for all three kinds of wash.
Oh, that's ridiculous. How can this one soap get grimy towels white and dirty work shirts clean and still be really safe for my fussy rayon slips and nicer colored washables?
But that's the whole idea of does. Why, you'll get lots more wear out of those rayons and nicer colored things by using this new soap, because their colors stay fresh and bright so much longer with Does. And you know that's important now when you want such clothes to last as long as possible.
Yes, I heard they're going to be hard to replace.
Sure. And that's why now more than ever you need the extra color care Does gives you. You see, that's where Does is so different from any of the four other leading granulated soaps.
Well, what about my white pieces?
Say, if it's whiteness you want, Does will suit you to a T. Because no soap made gets clothes whiter than Does. Why, your towels and sheets will come out so gleaming white, you'll be proud of them. In fact, you've never seen more snowy white washes than Does gives you.
And you say it's grand for greasy overalls, too?
Sure, Does will get them wonderfully clean, without any hard scrubbing either. Why, you just tell me if you ever got cleaner clothes with so little work.
Well, this Does certainly sounds different, all right.
Of course, even the suds are different.
Well, how's that?
You'll find Does make stacks more suds in your machine. Suds that build up faster and last longer. So treat yourself to a new kind of wash day with this really new kind of granulated soap. Ask for Does, D-U-Z, today in that big red and white box. And next wash day, let Does do everything. And now the Goldbergs. A ring may only be a band of metal with a diamond in it. But it can mean anything in the world. And yesterday, Rosie received a ring by registered mail at the post office. She came running into Main Street radiant with happiness because she knew it was from Walter. But Walter didn't seem too excited by it, nor did Sammy, or Sammy's friend Mikey. Jake, however, accepted it for what it seemed to mean. But the real truth, which Walter and Sammy know, is that the ring was sent to Rosie by Walter's former fiancée, Norma. It was a ring that Walter had wanted for himself to pay off his debts. And now, in Rosie's hands, it makes for another meaning entirely. Meanwhile, at home, making dinner, Molly knows nothing except that she's glad Mikey is visiting the Goldbergs.
Sunshine, look out, Sporty, look out, please. Why don't you very much jump on me if they got on my new black dress, huh? Please. My beautiful sunshine. Lay down, go yonder. When I want you home, so you wandering in the village all over, and when I don't want you, so you stay like Mary's little lamb. Go. Let me fix my supper, and let me fix everything. Company's coming, and sunshine, oh, beautiful sunshine, oh, beautiful happiness. Oh, come in, whoever. Oh, Birdie.
Birdie.
Oh, my. Come in, Birdie. You're such a total stranger.
I never try to wear the welcome off anybody's door.
Brady. From mine door, the welcome can be rubbed off by you, Brady.
Mr. Goldbergs, that doesn't favor me too much.
Mr. Goldbergs, okay, don't be foolish. Sit down, Brady.
Thank you.
How are you?
Fair. Just fair. I don't have to ask you how you are. Seymour told me.
Well,
You don't have to tell me. I know. Who is this Mikey that's coming up?
Oh, Mike's friend.
He's a soldier, I heard.
A soldier. He's a sergeant. He's a sergeant, but he's got a ready to see stripes. He's got. It's my friend, Mrs. Bloom's boy. You don't mind if I make my fruit salad while I sit here, huh?
Not at all.
Sit right over here, Brady, dear.
You know the train is in already.
Yeah, I know. I do this cook. They'll be here soon.
I'm not staying for supper.
Oh, you're welcome.
Well, I'll see. Mrs. Goldberg, if you really want to know why I came over.
Yes?
I'm here because my brother Seymour sent me.
Oh, he's not well?
Well, he's as well as he can be.
Oh, so why didn't he came?
Because he wants me to speak for him.
About what?
About everything that's going on here.
Oh, what do you mean?
Mrs. Goldberg, I don't say that it's easy for a girl like Rosie to feel anything but platonic friendship for my brother Seymour. He's not tall, he's not handsome, he's not many things. Who appreciates real qualities these days?
So?
He only asked me to come here to warn you.
Wonderful. What do I need warning?
Walter Jerome is not for Rosie, Mrs. Goldberg. Seymour is working with him at the mill, and he sees him more than anybody else.
It's all right, Brady.
I'm telling you because I was told to tell you.
It's all right.
He owes everybody money in the village.
It's all right, Brady. What do you hear from home?
You're such an intelligent woman, Mrs. Goldberg. Why don't you be smart for yourself?
How's Mother, Brady, huh?
I'm not going to mind my own business, Mrs. Goldberg, because this is my business. My brother's health is being affected. Do you know that Walter Jerome takes 2 hours for lunch every day?
Well, Brady.
What do you mean, well?
That little knife over there, Brady, please hand me.
What do you mean, well? My brother Seymour may not be smart, but he's psychic. He sees far into beyond.
Brady, please, I'm sorry that Seymour's health isn't, that he's psychical and that he sees far into beyond and... I mean, Brady, after all, we're here, and Rosalie has a mother, thank goodness, and Rosalie has a father, and Rosalie has a brother, and we like your friendship, and I like Seymour, and I like you, Brady.
But you're willing to accept this Walter Jerome just because he has a pretty face, and his mother is a rich woman. You reap the harvest, Mrs. Goldberg, that's all I'm saying. We're living in a world today, Mrs. Goldberg, that only what a person himself does counts, and not what his father did.
I know, Bertie.
The sons of today...
No, Bertie.
The sons of today are reaping the mistakes of their fathers, not living on the mistakes.
I know, Bertie, I know.
I'm warning you solemnly, Mrs. Goldberg. You rue the hour Walter Jerome entered this house. He doesn't believe in work. He's against work. For him, work is something that other people do. You should hear Seymour. You should hear Seymour describe for you the extent of Walter's activity at the mill.
Oh, it's all right, Bertie.
Very well, very well. What I have to say, I've said, and what I should say further you don't want to hear. Only one final word. A word of advice.
Excuse me, Bertie, I'll take this one, please.
It's all right to marry a rich woman's son if he's a man. But...
Hello?
Hello, Mama, darling?
Yes, Rosalie?
Ma?
Yes, dear.
I have a surprise for you.
Mike is there?
Uh-huh.
How is he?
Fine. Well, can you hear me, Ma? I have a big surprise for you.
What is that?
I'll be home in a minute.
Tell me.
No, not until I get home.
Why not?
Because I'll be right home, Ma.
Well, why can't you tell me? Bye.
You should have told her I was here.
Well, I don't know. Rosalie has a surprise for me.
I had a surprise for my mother once, too.
Excuse me.
Another surprise, I suppose.
Hello?
Hello. This is Mrs. Jerome.
Yes? This is Mrs. Goldberg. Mrs. Goldberg.
I'm taking a banana, Mrs. Goldberg.
Hello.
Yes?
I just called to warn you not to take anything for granted.
What do you mean?
About the ring.
What ring?
You don't know?
No, I don't know, Mrs. Jerome.
Then I'll tell you so you won't get any false hopes. If your daughter gets a ring in the mail today, a nice big diamond ring that cost me $10,000, make sure she doesn't think it's from Walter.
Now, I don't understand you, Mrs.
If you
Jerome.
listen carefully, you'll understand. When Walter and Norma were engaged, I gave her a diamond ring. And now that you and your daughter broke Norma's engagement to my son, he asked Norma for the ring. Only Walter wanted her to send the ring to him so he could pay off his debt. Yes, his debt.
Well, Mrs. Jerome, what has that got to do with me?
A lot, Mrs. Goldberg. Foolishly, instead of just ignoring him, Norma sent the ring to your daughter. And I just want you to know that I paid for the ring. I gave it to Norma, and the ring is mine, not Walter's. So please have your daughter send it back to me. You understand me?
Yes.
My son doesn't find life so easy, Niall, trying to live off salary. And he isn't going to make it easier by living off my ring. And most of all, I don't want your daughter to think that Walter has any intention of wasting his $10,000 ring on her. But nevertheless, I didn't think I...
Who was it? Don't you feel well, Mrs. Goldberg? Was it bad news?
Mama, darling.
Mama, darling.
Mama, darling, look.
Your mother doesn't feel well.
Who said I don't feel well? Who said?
Well, Molly, darling, did you see the ring?
Isn't it beautiful, Ma?
There is only one thing to do now, Molly. Let's send out an announcement and make the engagement already official.
But all Rosie's joy and all Jake's resignation to events can't bring any happiness to Molly's face. She remembers Mrs. Jerome's words, and she sees Rosie's excitement, and she wonders just what the ring really means for Rosie's future when it involves a boy like Walter Jerome. You know, it's bad enough to have a lot of dishes to wash every day, but there's no need to make matters worse by using those halfway soaps. I mean bar soaps, because they don't give you real speed. Or those tough granulated soaps, because they fall short on safety for your hands. Well, such halfway soaps are out of date now that new Does is here. Yes, Does, that amazing new kind of granulated soap for everything in your wash. And believe me, it has everything for dishes, too. From whirlwind speed to extra gentleness for your hands. Just notice how wonderfully smooth and nice your hands feel after doing dishes with Does. Why, not one of the 4 other leading granulated soaps can give your hands the extra care you get with Does. Yet you've never used a soap that gets dishes clean faster. Does cuts even tough grease without any hard scouring. Yes, just let those busy suds tell you how really new and different Does is. Try it today. Does has everything for dishes. Be sure to listen to the next episode of The Goldbergs. Rosie solves her own case without even knowing that she's doing it. This is Clayton Collier wishing you good day for Procter & Gamble, makers of Does, the new kind of granulated soap for all 3 kinds of wash.
To hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned the homicide detail. A phone call comes into your office from a man who tells you his wife has been murdered. He's not sure who the killer is. Your job? Find him.
You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes.
You'll find they now cost the same. But in Fatima, the difference is quality.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
So compare Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, January 9th. It was rainy and windy in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 9:27 p.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide detail.
Hi, Joe. Great night, huh?
Yeah, terrible weather.
Just look out there on Spring Street.
Yeah, I know. I just came in out of it.
Really coming down.
Yeah.
Just like I told you on the phone this afternoon.
What's that?
Every time those seagulls fly in from the coast, it means rain.
Yeah. Sure is a fine coat. I've never been sorry I bought this.
Let me take another look at that, Joe.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. English coat, huh?
Yeah, they make them a little heavier over there than we do here. Seem to be kind of good in our business. You remember that Henderson stakeout last month?
Oh, yeah. Really poured down that day.
Mm-hmm. This coat kept me dry as a bone. Water just seems to roll off of it.
Yeah, that's a good one. Here you go.
Thank you. I have to hang it up.
Mm-hmm.
Supposed to keep a good coat on a hanger, you know, especially when they're wet.
Betcha. Trouble with mine is it leaks right up here over the shoulders. Must be through the seams, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
Same one I've been wearing. I told you about it before.
You said you're going to get a new one, didn't you?
Yeah, but it's such a good coat otherwise. I hate to throw it away.
It's no good if it leaks.
Oh, I guess you're right at that. Maybe I can get those seams fixed, do you think?
I don't know. How long you had it?
7 years.
I'll get it. Homicide, Friday.
This is 14 on the complaint board. Take this call.
Right.
Hello?
Hello.
My name's Leonard Gray.
Yes, sir?
My wife's dead. She's been killed. I just went down to the garage, and when I came back, she was dead. Could you send somebody out here right away?
Yes, sir. What's that address?
1627 Oxford Place.
27 Oxford Place.
Yes, sir, that's right. Can't understand that she was all right when I left, and then when I came back, she was dead. I can't understand that.
We'll be right there, Mr. Gray.
My best friend lives right next door.
Yes, sir?
He says I did it.
1627 Oxford Place was on the east side of the street. It was an average one-story stucco home. All the homes on the street were about the same general style and size. It was a nice neighborhood. All the grounds appeared to be well kept from what we could see through the heavy rain. The porch light was burning when we got there. Inside the house, we were met by the two officers from Unit 37R who filled us in on the results of their preliminary investigation. We asked them to stand by in front of the house. Then we asked the husband of the murdered woman, Leonard Gray, to show us where the body was.
Back this way, in the dining room. Everything just the way you found it, Mr. Gray? You didn't touch anything?
No, sir, haven't touched anything. Right there on the floor. That's where I found it. Can I wait up there in the living room?
Yes, sir, that's all right. Ben, would you like to help him?
Yeah.
Just sit right there. I'll be right with you.
Thank you.
You and your wife live here alone, do you?
Yes. It's just two of us, no children.
Ben.
Yeah.
Well, clothing's torn. Must have put up a struggle, huh?
Yeah. Some redness there around the throat.
Strangled?
Yeah, could be. Deep gash there on the forehead. Broken vase there on the floor. You want to call the crime lab?
Yeah, okay. Mr. Gray, where's your telephone? Right in the hall out there by the bedroom. Thank you.
You think you could tell us about it now, Mr. Gray?
Yes, I think so. Do you have a cigarette?
Yes, sir. There you are.
Thank you.
Just a minute, I'll give you a light.
Thanks.
That's all right. Now, can you tell me just what happened here tonight?
Earl Anderson, that's my friend. Lives 2 houses down. He and I went out after work. We usually do once or twice a week just to have a few beers.
Yes, sir.
I don't know, I felt pretty good. Guess I had a couple too many. Earl said it was late and we better be getting home, so he did. I had a little too much to drink, so he drove.
I see. Well, where were you and your friend drinking?
The bar right across from where we work. Earl Anderson and me. A lot of the men go there for a beer right after work.
Mm-hmm. Were there quite a few men from work in there tonight?
Yeah, quite a few. I wonder if the other officer found the phone all right.
Yes, sir, I'm sure he did.
Kind of hard to find sometimes. Wife had it covered with little curtains.
That's all right, Mr. Gray. Just try to take it easy.
They're on their way.
Right. He was telling me that he and his friend Earl Anderson stopped after work. They had a couple of beers, and then the two of them drove on home.
I see.
Is that right, sir?
Yeah, that's right. Well, we got home, and I was feeling pretty good, so I asked Earl to come on in and have a little nightcap.
Mm-hmm. What time was that when you got home?
About 6:30. Earl didn't want to come in because he said Hazel would be upset with me because we were a little late. Anyway, I finally talked him into coming in with me.
Was your wife upset?
A little bit, yeah. She used to be unhappy when I was late because of dinner. She was never unreasonable. I didn't make it a habit to stay out unusually late anyhow.
I see.
I feel terrible. Just terrible. And when we got in the house, the first thing Hazel asked me was if I'd looked at the car.
Whose car was that?
It's our car, Dodge Sedan 42. It's parked across the street now.
I wonder if we might check back here a little.
Yeah?
I thought I understood you to say that you felt that you'd had a little too much to drink, so your friend drove this Earl Anderson?
Yes, but it was his car. I guess I should have made that a little clearer. You see, we take turns driving home, either his or my car. We trade off to fight the traffic, no matter whose car.
I see. Wonder if you'd go on, please.
I didn't know what she meant by asking if I'd seen the car. She said someone had let all the air out of the back tires.
Do you know why anybody'd want to do a thing like that?
No, I had no idea who'd do that to us. Hazel said she wanted to use the car tonight. She had to go to a friend's house to help her do some remodeling or something. She didn't say a word about my being late. I thought the car had kind of taken her mind off it. Told her I'd go out and look and see if I couldn't fix it.
Well, did it strike you as being important that you fix the car right away?
How do you mean?
Well, sir, I was just thinking I wouldn't want to go out in all that rain unless it was something pretty important.
Well, I didn't want to either, but I figured all I'd have to do was put a little air in the tires and then drive it down to the gas station.
I see. Do you want to go on?
Earl said he'd be willing to give me a hand, so we went out to have a look at the car. One look at the tires and I knew we couldn't fix them. Somebody had cut them with a knife or something. They were beyond repair.
Do you have any idea who did that?
No, I couldn't figure it out. I have no enemies that I can think of. No one that'd do a thing like that.
What did you do then?
Earl and I figured that we'd better take the wheels off, take them down to the garage and buy some new tires. I borrowed Earl's jack and we took off the wheels. Earl said he'd be glad to take the wheels down and that I'd better go back in the house with Hazel because she might wonder what we were doing about fixing the car.
I understand.
We talked back and forth for a minute or two and I finally insisted that I go.
Where did your friend, Earl Anderson, go?
To his house. I dropped him off there.
Where does he live?
Just 2 houses down the street. After I dropped him off, I went down and picked up 2 new tires and 2 tubes, and they mounted them on the wheels for me, and I came back.
About what time was it when you got back here to the house, do you remember?
I don't know, somewhere around 9:15, I guess.
Then what did you do?
I was going to put the wheels on, but I thought I'd better go back in the house and tell Hazel I'd have the car fixed in a minute.
Yes.
The minute I walked in the door, I knew something was wrong. It seemed like I could feel it. I called to her. She didn't answer. Went through the house, and when I got to the dining room, I found her.
We'll have to ask you to come downtown with us, sir. You'll have to give us a complete statement on this.
Is that necessary?
Yes, sir. I'm afraid it is.
All right. Wonder if it'd be all right if I called my friend Earl Anderson to go down with me. I haven't told him about this.
We'll notify him. Well, this friend of yours, Earl Anderson.
Yeah.
When you spoke with me on the phone, didn't you say something about your best friend saying that he thought that you killed your wife?
Did I say that?
Yes, sir, you did.
Oh, I didn't mean it that way.
How did you mean it?
I've been drinking earlier tonight. Like I told you, I guess I must have gotten mixed up.
Well, and he didn't say that you killed your wife?
No, he didn't.
Well, I know this has been a strain and a pretty bad shock, Mr. Gray, but you told us that you didn't say anything to Earl Anderson about this. Now, isn't that right?
I'm so sick and upset. Is that what I told you?
Yes, sir. You asked me if it'd be all right if you called your friend. You said you hadn't told him anything about that.
I did. I called him right after I got home. I was terrified. I didn't know what to do.
Then you did mention your wife's death, don't you?
Yes, sir. Way you men are questioning me, your tone sounds as if you think I might have done this.
Oh, sure. We're just trying to get the facts straight. Right now, anybody's a suspect.
I didn't do this. I swear to God, I didn't kill my wife.
Do you have any idea who might have wanted to kill Mrs. Gray?
No, no one. Hazel and I didn't have many friends. No enemies that I know of.
I see.
You men have any ideas at all? Can you tell anything from what you've seen?
We might know a little more after the crime lab checks things over.
As soon as the lab men get here, then you can start on the case.
No, sir. We've already started. 10:15 p.m. We continued to question Leonard Gray, the husband of the dead woman, Hazel Gray. His answers seemed to follow the same general pattern of hazy confusion. Ben and I weighed the possibilities and cause for his evident confusion. He admitted that he'd been drinking earlier that evening, the tremendous shock of the death of his wife, the complete interrogation necessary in the investigation. All these things could prove to be reason enough for Leonard Gray's apparent confusion. They could all be possibilities of pretense as well. We had to be sure. We asked him about relatives and in-laws. He told us that his parents were not living, that his wife's mother and father resided in Los Angeles in the southwest section of the city. He gave us the address. He furnished us with a list of his friends and his acquaintances. He was feeling quite badly, but seemed to want us to continue with the questioning. From time to time, he would add unimportant bits of his story, which he had omitted the first time through. 10:17 p.m. The crime lab crew arrived and went to work. Gray's friend, Earl Anderson, was picked up and brought to the murder house.
Any idea who did this thing?
We're working on it.
There's just one thing I want to make sure of.
Yeah?
You don't suspect Len, do you?
Why do you ask that?
Well, I know how something like this can be. Len and Hazel are wonderful people, very good friends of mine. Just wanted to go on record as being able to vouch for Len. He wouldn't do a thing like that.
Is that what you wanted to tell her?
Well, yes, sir. I've known Len for about 5 years now, going on 6. We work at the same place. Just want to vouch for him, that's all.
Would you know of anyone who might have a reason to kill Mrs. Gray?
Not a soul in the world. Hazel was wonderful to everybody. She didn't have any enemies that I know of. Such a pretty girl.
We know that you're a close friend of Gray's. Maybe you'd be able to answer a couple of questions for us.
Any way I can be of help to you.
How did Mr. and Miss Gray seem to get along? I mean, did they have any arguments that you know of?
Well, I really don't think I should go into their personal life in this thing.
You mean you don't want to answer?
No, sir, it isn't that. It just seems that it's really not my place to go into it.
We're going to have to question everybody that the Grays knew, all their friends and acquaintances. Appreciate any help you could give us.
Well, it isn't that I don't want to help. I know that if I answer, it's going to make Len look bad at the moment.
Well, we'll have to get all the facts from one source or another.
Well, they used to have some arguments. Guess you'd find it out from the neighbors anyway.
Were the arguments that bad?
Pretty loud, yes, sir. Oh, I don't mean to imply that Len ever struck Hazel, but she used to get quite put out with him sometimes.
Why? How do you know?
Len likes to go out with the boys. You know, booze it up quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
She used to tell him that she wasn't going to put up with it any longer.
He said he never struck her.
Not that I know of, Sergeant.
Did they have these arguments often?
I don't feel right talking this way about Len behind his back.
Well, I know that as his friend, you want to get this thing cleaned up.
Yes, sir, that's right, I do. Yes, I used to have quite a few arguments. Please understand that these differences of theirs may have been loud, but I know Len would never think of hurting Hazel in any way.
I see.
Did you find out who slashed the tires on Len's car?
We're checking on it.
Wonder if that couldn't have some bearing on this.
Yeah, possibly. Anderson, we'd like to have you go back to the time you and Mr. Gray got home. Just tell us exactly what happened, would you? Will you excuse me for a minute?
Sure.
Friday, see you a minute.
Right, Harris. I'll be right back.
Okay. We're just about through. It's all photoed. Lifted some prints. Coroner's ready to take the body, okay?
Yeah, it's all right. Get anything besides the prints?
Yeah, a small piece of blue cloth. White button attached. Looks like it was ripped off a shirt.
Where'd they find it?
Near the body. We'll see you fellas back at the office, huh?
Yeah, okay, Harris. Thank you.
I was just telling your partner, Sergeant, while you were out of the room.
Yes, sir.
In this kind of a case, if it turns out to be murder, you have to know the whereabouts of everyone concerned, don't you?
Yeah, we do.
I suppose Len told you about his going down and get the tires fixed on his car.
Yeah, he did.
Did he tell you that I was at home during that time?
Were you?
Yeah, I was. I don't mean to try to tell you your business or anything like that, but isn't that the sort of information you have to have?
Yeah, that's right.
Is there anything else you'd like to know?
Yes, sir. Who killed Hazel Gray?
You are listening to Dragnet. From beginning to end, Dragnet is the authentic story of your police force in action.
Now, from beginning to end, the Fatima story. Actual convincing proof that in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Quality of tobaccos, the finest domestic and Turkish varieties, extra mild and superbly blended to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, round, perfect cigarettes. Rolled in the finest paper money can buy. Manufactured in the newest and most modern of all cigarette factories.
Quality, even to the appearance of the bright, clean, golden yellow package. Carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, more long cigarette smokers are now insisting on Fatima than ever before.
So if you smoke a long cigarette, compare Fatima. You'll find they now cost the same. But your first puff will tell you,
ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Insist on Fatima. Start enjoying the quality king-size cigarette. Fatima. Best of all long cigarettes.
10:30 p.m. Tuesday, January 9th. Leonard Gray, the husband of the murdered woman, and Earl Anderson, his friend, were taken downtown to homicide for further investigation. Complete statements were taken from both men. We checked them through R&I. No record on either one. We had all prowlers and burglary calls in the vicinity of the murder house rechecked. Units working the area where the murder had occurred had picked up 2 possible suspects loitering in the neighborhood, but they were eliminated almost immediately. All of the neighbors, friends, and relatives of Mr. and Ms. Gray were contacted and questioned. No leads. All their stories tallied almost exactly with that of Earl Anderson. The Grays had been known to argue, quite frequently. The arguments were loud, but no one could say that they ever showed any physical violence toward one another. It was the opinion of the relatives and in-laws that Leonard Gray drank too much. Earl Anderson, his friend, was checked and found to be a completely reliable man. We talked with the repairman at the garage where Gray had his tires exchanged. His story was correct in every detail. Earl Anderson's wife was checked. She vouched for the Grays as well as her husband. Ben and I talked with Captain Steed for an hour. 1:45 a.m.
Well, Skipper seems to feel like I do about it.
Yeah, my husband, Gray. Huh?
Sure looks that way, doesn't it? We've been over that story 3 times with him, and we get 3 different versions.
Yeah, I know.
He's completely sober now. He should be able to tell a straight story. I don't know, Joe.
Yeah, well, I'm not completely satisfied. As far as that goes, the captain isn't either. You heard him. I'll admit Gray looks bad right now.
What do you think?
I don't know.
I got it.
All right.
Homicide, Romero. Yeah, Edwards. No, Joe's right here. You want to talk with him? Oh, fine, yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Okay, thanks, Bob. Georgia juvenile.
Yeah?
Picked up a couple of kids. They confessed to slashing the Gray's tire.
Well, that clears that up. Didn't seem to figure in anyway. Did it to you?
No. Unless somebody did it to draw Gray out of the house.
Well, it's cutting it pretty thin, isn't it?
Yeah. What's the time?
10 minutes to 2.
Guess I better call Leighton Print, see what they got.
Okay. Did Edwards say that they were going to hold those juveniles for us?
Yeah, I said they were bringing them down here for interrogation.
Okay.
Oh, hi. Hi, Mac. Romero. Yeah. Good. Yeah, right, thanks. Yeah. Got something.
What'd he say?
One of the prints they left it out there is a palm print. McLaughlin says it'll work for elimination. And something else.
Yeah.
The print was pressed in spots of blood.
The killer of Hazel Gray had left behind him a clue to his identity about which there could be no mistake. His palm print. The prints of the dead woman, Hazel Gray, were checked and eliminated. They weren't hers. 2:40 a.m. Leonard Gray and his friend Earl Anderson were taken down and fingerprinted. Their palm prints were also taken. Both men were returned to the interrogation room.
Sergeant, why'd we have to be fingerprinted?
Just routine.
It's just like I was telling you, Sergeant Friday.
What's that?
Len and I have been suspects all along, haven't we?
Well, it's just a matter of elimination. Anybody involved in any way has to be checked out.
Didn't the fellow down at the garage verify Len's story?
Yes, sir, he did.
It's the truth. I wouldn't lie at a time like this.
I don't believe that anybody thinks you're lying, Len. It's just they have to be sure.
That's right.
Again. Interrogation room. This is Romero. Oh, yeah, Ray. Okay, right away. Crime lab, Joe. Pinker says he and Jones would like to see one of us right away.
All right, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Sergeant, was there really any specific reason for us being fingerprinted?
Well, we already told you it's just routine.
Wouldn't it be perfectly in line to find Len's fingerprints around his own house?
Well, yes, it would.
Yours could be there, too, Earl.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I'm over at their house a great deal of the time.
Yeah, we know. You mentioned that.
Makes you feel kind of funny getting fingerprinted.
Doesn't make any difference what I have to go through if you can find who did this thing.
I feel the same way, Len. Think you're any closer to knowing who did it?
Well, possibly. You men have had a little time to think this over. Do either of you have anything to add to your story? Maybe some small detail you may have overlooked?
I've been thinking about it all night. I can't think of anything I haven't already told you.
Mm-hmm. You, Mr. Anderson? Is there anything that you might have forgotten to tell us?
Sorry, I was just thinking.
Yes, sir?
There couldn't have been anyone Hazel knew, could there, Len?
How do you mean?
Well, somebody maybe from her past, somebody she may not have told you about.
I don't see how that could be possible. You people checked her father and mother, didn't you?
Yes, sir, we did.
Well, that eliminates that possibility. Haven't you found any way at all of telling who it was that killed Hazel?
Yeah, we have.
Oh, I think that Len here's entitled to know. I'd be glad to leave the room if you want to talk to him alone.
No, sir, that's not necessary. When we work it out, you'll both be told about it.
If there's something definite, you'd tell me, wouldn't you? I think Earl's right. I'm entitled to know.
Well, sir, we're assigned to the investigation, Mr. Gray, and we're doing everything that we can to get to the bottom of it.
Sergeant Len and I think you men know a great deal more than you've been telling him. His wife was a victim. It's his right to know how the investigation is going, isn't it?
Well, I told you before, whatever he should know, we'll tell him. Anything that we withhold from him is done for a good reason.
Joe, want to take a look at this?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Here's a report on it.
Oh, thank you. That shirt belong to either of you men?
It's not mine.
No, why? What's it mean?
I get it. Interrogation room Friday. Yeah, Dean. Right, thank you.
What about that shirt, Sergeant? What's it mean?
This button here, little piece of cloth attached. It's found by the body. You notice the front of the shirt here? Button ripped off? See how it matches?
Yeah, it's not my shirt.
It was found in your house.
I never saw it before. It's not mine.
The palm print was.
What?
The print of your palm. Blood stains on it was found near the body.
What's he talking about, Earl? What's he mean?
I killed Hazel.
What?
I killed Hazel. Because I loved her. I think I loved her more than you did.
You don't kill someone because you love them.
You do if you love them enough.
You ready to give us a statement, Anderson?
Yeah, I'll tell you.
I can't believe all this. I ought to kill you.
All right, Gray. Hold it.
I can't believe it. My best friend.
I wasn't your best friend.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On April 4th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 89, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Friends, let me tell you how to size up king-size cigarettes. First, take a Fatima, and then any other king-size cigarette. Side by side, the two may seem to look alike, but they're not, because no other king-size cigarette has Fatima quality. That's right. In Fatima, the difference is quality. Quality that starts with a blend of the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos and follows up with extra mildness, a better flavor and aroma. Now, if you haven't tried Fatimas yet, take my advice. Buy a pack. Compare Fatima. You'll find, just as I have, that in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Earl Taylor Anderson was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. He was executed in the lethal gas chamber at the State Penitentiary, San Quentin, California.
At home and overseas, in camps, hospitals, and military installations, and in battle areas, Red Cross personnel work for the welfare, recreation, and morale of those who defend the nation. Today, Red Cross is expanding these services to keep pace with the rapid growth of our nation's defense forces. Your support of Red Cross makes this expansion possible. Remember, when you give to the Red Cross, your gift is a lift to our fighting men.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Our thanks to Quick Magazine for this week's salute to Dragnet's Jack Webb. Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
Hear a gold smuggling case on Counter Spy next over most NBC stations.
My name's Regan. I get 10 a day in expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Anthony J. Lyon. They call me the Lion's Eye.
With Jack Webb as Jeff Regan, the Lion's Eye, stand by for hard-boiled action and mystery and thrilling adventure in tonight's story of the guy from Gower Gulch.
It's a gray building, about the color of moldy bread. It's an apartment house in the middle of Hollywood, and it figures that the guy who built it quit voting when they named the street it sits on, Taft Avenue. My place is furnished with war surplus from the Spanish-American War. Well, it's got a hat rack, and that's where I live, number 308. In back, where you get a view and some fresh air from the alley. One's about as bad as the other. But I got it fixed up kind of nice. Hot plate, coffee pot, an autographed picture of Sally Rand that somebody left there. Only mistake I made was putting in a telephone. It spoils a lot of things.
Regan, Mr. Lyon, wake up. We got a job.
Why don't you sleep at night?
Lucky for you, I got insomnia. We go broke.
Try Ovaltine. What kind of a job?
How should I know? Get your clothes on.
What are you doing, reading the want ads?
I got a note from a client.
You mean you got money?
$100 is all. Says he'll match it if we run him an errand.
Where to? Santa Ana Canyon?
He'll tell you.
You know, if you got morals like a cash register, can he write his name?
Davy Crockett. He's 50 years old.
Well, he's a little old for cowboys and Indians, isn't he?
That's his name, Davy Crockett.
Well, when's the wagon train pull out?
Regan, I don't know how I stand for you. Get over there.
Get where?
Listen, a guy works pretty hard. Building up a business like I have takes a lot out of him.
You got plenty on tap.
I just want you to understand, that's all. Money doesn't grow on trees. Now, sometimes you gotta play your hunches.
Like George Gallup.
This time I got a feeling the guy's okay. He writes like a gentleman, Regan. I want you to treat him like one.
Well, where do I find him?
He's in a location can give us a lot of business.
Where?
The city jail.
Yeah, that's the Lion. Born under the sign of the dollar. Well, it happened on Monday night, and I found the Lincoln Heights jail looking real tired after a rough weekend. They were putting fresh creosote on the walls in front of the drunk tank, and the guy at the desk looked like he'd burst his radiator if anybody phoned for another reservation. It was about 1 a.m., but after a couple of jokes I know about alligators, Sergeant Gonzalez hauled out a drawer with some cards in it. Under C, he found it. Full name, David Crockett, cell 273, solitary. Gonzalez walked me through a couple of corridors, and then he opened his cell and let me inside. Davy Crockett was there, awake and standing up. He was about 4 feet high, skinny, with a head like a sunburned turnip. He had blue veins roaming all over his nose and a handlebar mustache to hold him up. He looked at me like I was holding the fifth ace.
Howdy, stranger.
My name's Regan, International Detective Bureau.
How do I know? Start anything and I'll set up a racket.
Now, I work for the Lion. You called him.
Maybe yes, maybe no. You got credentials?
Where do you want him?
Easy, son. Not talking to an amateur. Flyweight champion, Buenos Aires, 29. Grab yourself a squat, partner.
What are you so nervous about?
Nothing. Precautious, that's all.
All right, look, let's start at the beginning, shall we? What are you locked up for?
Fire plug. Got him in the dangest places in this burg.
What'd you do, steal it for your dog?
No. Parked my landlady's car alongside it while I ran an errand.
You don't get jugged for traffic tickets.
There were 2 cops. Looked like a posse. I don't like injustice.
All right, resisting arrest, is that all?
What more do you want? Told you I'm not a man to be trampled with. Taught judo in Tokyo, 34.
The Japs still lost the war.
Sit still, Regan. You're working.
On what?
Well, it's just another errand. It's not much.
Well, come on, let's pick up the tempo, will you? My bicycle's double parked.
Say, you ever get saddle sores on a bicycle? I did once. 8-day race.
Yeah, I know. Now, what about this errand?
Little package wrapped up in a sweater. In the alley by the ash can.
Go on.
I calculate I dropped it about 3.5 feet to the left of the big ash can.
By accident?
Man can't fight with his hands full. I wrote down the address for you here.
All right. What's in that sweater you didn't want the cops to see?
A polecat.
That fits the rest of your story, yeah.
Son, there's nothing in the life of Davy Crockett won't stand inspection. When you get the package, check it in at the Union Station.
And then what?
Save me the stub. You get 100.
Save it for bail. You could do this job yourself.
That's what I told you, Sonny. I'd like to be lonesome.
So you had him lock you up on purpose?
No, I just like it here. You want a reference? Check any of the boys in Gower Gulch.
Movie cowboy, huh?
Laddie, you're looking at the greatest jockey since Paul Revere. Eddie Sand to Eddie Arcaro. I beat them all. Kentucky Downs, 39.
Yeah, sure. Well, a job's a job, Davy, but I got a hot tip where I fit in.
Where's that?
Trailing the field. Well, I left the little man running his fingers through an old copy of Variety, and I went out into the street. It was about 3 o'clock, and a truck was throwing some water out and giving the gutter a shampoo. I picked up my car and started out to play retriever. That's when I spotted the blonde tailing me. She was using a 37 Packard, and the top was down. I could see her in the mirror. I could tell she had yellow hair like a rag doll. It took a few fast turns to get rid of her, but then I was solo when I pulled to a stop by the alley off Gower. It was in back of some old movie studios. About then, a drunk came pouring down the street, did a loop around a fire plug at the head of the alley, and sat down. He was the talented kind, and I figured he thought I was Arthur Godfrey. Well, I scrambled over some broken beer bottles looking for the sweater. It finally showed, lying beside a pack of newspaper and some dame's torn petticoat. That's when the drunk lost his tilt and began looking at me. I picked up an old shoe, I wrapped it in a newspaper, and I started out of the alley. The drunk went back to his audition, moving toward me.
Marie, the dawn is breaking. Marie, you'll soon be waking. Hiya, friend. Have a drink.
That's not my brand.
Don't be a mug. A little drink between friends is real nice.
Well, we haven't been introduced.
My name's Maxwell. What's yours?
Slipped my mind.
That's the trouble with the whole world. No fellowship. Except for my girl, Marie. You know Marie?
No, I don't.
Sort of short and plump with a little sinus trouble.
It's too bad.
Thought you might have met her. Lots of fellowship in that girl. Every time you look, another fella.
All right, move it, buddy.
Now, you don't want to get by me, friends. You want to stand right there and have a little drink.
You got the subject we're going to talk about?
Yeah, sure. Here, what's in the package?
Dirty laundry.
Ain't that funny, though? I just got me a new Bendix.
Why don't you go into business?
That's what I'm going to do. You're my first customer.
No, I lux my dainties.
Yeah, don't go away, friend. I ain't through with my sales talk.
Well, hire a skywriter.
Hold up, I said.
Get your hands off of me.
All right, Regan, the round's over.
Yeah, what makes you the referee?
This does.
Fendi wants to play rough, Red.
Reconsider, Regan. It'll make you happy.
All right, what do you want?
The package.
You heard what he said, smart guy.
Why don't you work for it?
Have him, Max. Don't leave, Regan. We're not finished.
I got the package, Red.
Give him a tip for picking it up.
Sure.
Oh.
Guess I overpaid him.
Well, it was easy to see it was their play. I had about as much chance as a midget in a basketball game. The muscles ambled off with the package that they took from me, and I crawled back for that sweater. It was still there, wrapped around something hard and round. And when I ripped it off, a shine caught my eye. It was a metal can of movie film, and the word Peru was marked on it. Not much for all the hush-hush, but it must have had a story. Well, I looked up a friend of mine who owned a camera shop, and I made a commotion with a $5 bill. That shook the sand out of him, and he rented me a projector with sound. The Lyons house was the next stop. We threw up a sheet on the wall and turned on the film. That completed the night. We had a trip to a good neighbor without a passport. Turned out to be a Joan Fitzpatrick giving us some kind of a travelogue.
The most colorful in the world. A temple of worship. Home of Peru, 2,000 years old.
Well, stop screaming, will you? It's free.
You know I can't stand movies. I got sore eyes.
All right, shut up and listen to this.
New Peru, the marketplace. A street vendor dressed in gay native costumes, selling delicacies to Peruvian children. Beads and jewels of exquisite beauty wrought by the hands of master Peruvian artisans. Horse racing and innovations from the modern world. And native dance.
I'm going to bed.
You won't sleep. I stole your eyeshade.
Oh, Regan, I got to get up early. I got lots to do.
It'll keep.
A veritable symphony of motion. And so, it's with heavy heart we say adieu to lovely Peru, land of the Peruvians, land of charm and enchantment. And with the setting sun, we take our leave.
Well, what'd you get out of it?
A headache.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in the morning.
No, I can't wait.
What you doing now?
I'm phoning the city jail.
Looking for a room?
Looking for information. Davey will supply it.
You've been drinking.
Now listen, big shot. Somebody's after this film for some reason. I'm going to find it.
City Jail, Sergeant Gonzalez speaking.
Danny's Regan.
Oh, hiya, Regan. I'm glad you called. I just got that joke about the alligators.
Now, well, do me a favor, will you?
Sure, pal, sure. See, I told it to the lieutenant. He's still laughing. You know, it may earn me a promotion, pal.
Let me talk to Davy Crockett.
Oh, I can't do that, Regan.
Well, you can say I'm his lawyer.
Well, it's not that, pal. He's not here anymore.
What do you mean?
Some guy bailed him out 20 minutes ago. When I was telling the lieutenant the joke, this guy in the briefcase comes in, slaps down the bail. Out walks your friend.
Well, he said he liked it there.
And Davey must have changed his mind.
Where'd he go?
Not very far. Just over to the morgue.
Well, the cowboy from Gower Gulch had spun his last yarn. Gonzalez told me that somebody had shot Crockett as soon as he hit the street. Oh, none of this made sense. The phony job, the blonde who tailed me, the fight in the alley, the corny movie. Now, the lion shoved the film in a desk, and I went out the door. I cut across his yard, but I stopped on the opposite sidewalk. My car wasn't alone. It was a 40-foot Nash sniffing at its rear fender.
Hey, Regan.
Well, Maxwell.
That's me.
You look different. Did you take the cure?
Shut up. Somebody wants to see you.
If it's Marie, tell her my book's full.
Thought you might like a lift.
No, I got a friend who runs a streetcar and I go on, beat it.
Regan, don't be that way.
Offer him a panatella, Maxwell.
Who's this, your father-in-law?
You smoke, Regan?
No, it might explode.
Yeah.
So long.
Hold it. Get in. Oh, Max. Max, I told you before, you're on probation.
That's all right. Don't pick on him, teacher. He didn't hurt me.
Get in front, Max.
Sure.
Where's your other boy, Red? We could play some bridge.
I thought he'd do better in the shoe business.
The one I gave him didn't fit, huh?
I'm a much misunderstood man, Mr. Regan. I'm sure you'll put your best foot forward.
I'd love to.
My card, Horace Grundy. Sometime earlier, a little man called me, Mr. Regan. Custer or Boone or...
Davy Crockett?
Of course. I want you to understand I get many such calls.
Party line.
It's a private number, but the salesmen bother me anyway.
Well, it's tough to be popular. Davy tell you what he was selling?
No.
Well, he didn't tell me either.
Have it your own way. When I told him I'd meet him, he said he'd arranged to get out of jail. He said all he wanted was a job.
And he got one.
Yes, only there's no future to it. I wouldn't want anything like that happening to you, Mr. Regan.
I'll renew my insurance.
No, you'll come with me. It's more friendly.
Suppose I don't like to talk.
You won't have to, if everything goes all right.
Well, it's your taxi.
And you're paying the fare. All right, Maxwell. Cloverfield.
I never knew a guy could say the name of an airport and make it sound like Forest Lawn. Grundy sat in the corner checking the manicure on his fingernails, and Maxwell drove out Olympic. By the time we skidded into Clover, I'd figured absolutely nothing. It was still only 4 a.m., but there was a string of cars parked in the lot. I spotted a 37 Packard Roadster, but I was too busy getting rushed up onto the field to look for the blonde. Besides, the faster we ran, the more excited Grundy got. And then we rounded a hangar, and the reporters hit us.
Say, Louis B's pretty sore, huh?
No. Louis B. and I are friends. Just his plugs are burned. Put it through, boys.
Hey, wait a second. This Julio who's traveling on the plane. They say he wants $250,000. You're going to pay him today?
After I see a workout. Come on, Regan, let's go.
Yeah, you're a real big man, Grundy.
I'm going to be, Regan. El Romano. Best rep of any horse in South America.
So that's it, huh? Where the ruins come from.
What's that?
Peru?
Oh, sure. Peruvian National Airways gave Julio a special plane. Everything special.
Like in the movies. Well, look, suppose you watch him unload. I'll take a back seat here.
Oh, no, Regan. This is a big day. I want you to see what's the ambulance for.
Well, don't look at me.
Stick around, Regan. It could be you.
Hey, get that stretcher over there.
Oh, he kicked me, hit me. It's Julio.
That's the guy who owns him?
Must be. I tried to hold him. Behold, the black my rib.
Take it easy, boy. We got you.
What happened?
Bounce. The landing she is rough, that is all.
Where is the doctor?
You're going to the hospital. Lie down.
I'm broken in 6 places.
Lift up the stretcher. Come on, boys. Hurry it up.
Oh, he kicked me. Move fast, boys. Yes, hot.
Hey, Mr. Grundy, the horse!
Well, the guy on the plane started to yell just about the time they took Julio toward the rear of the ambulance. Grundy took a dive for the cargo door, and so did everybody else. Then I had to stand there while 6 feet of big shot cigar turned into a crybaby.
Look, Regan. Look at the horse's leg. He's kicked himself.
Okay, so he's clumsy.
But he might not run again. He was going to be mine, Regan.
Well, that's too bad. Call a vet.
I have already paid $50,000 retainer on the horse, Regan.
I'll send you a lawyer.
I got an idea. You're connected with this.
Oh, dry up, Buster. It's an accident.
Yeah? I got an idea there's going to be another accident.
Grundy, maybe you're right.
Oh! Hey, stop him!
I didn't wait to see if he went down. Maxwell swung, but I took off through the crowd. It figured that Cloverfield wasn't for me, and I wasn't going to stick around for the daisies. And then I spotted a ride, the rear end of Julio's ambulance. I made it just as the buggy started to move. I pulled the door shut and tried not to step on that stretcher inside. I shouldn't even have bothered that. The stretcher was empty. The only patient was me.
You are listening to the story of the guy from Gower Gulch. Tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Commissions are still available in the Army Nurse Corps Reserve. Graduate registered nurses between the ages of 21 and 45 may qualify for service with this fine organization. If you are interested in joining the Army Nurse Corps and believe that you qualify for a commission, apply to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. And now back to Jeff Regan, Investigator, and the story of the guy from Gower Gulch.
Well, things were beginning to move like a hula dancer with a hot foot. Davy Crockett sent me out to pick up a roll of movie film. A Joan Fitzpatrick travelogue on beautiful Peru. There was something in it that was hot, but Crockett got himself plugged before he could say what it was. There were shots of a horse race in Peru. And when a big buster named Grundy turns up buying a nag from a Peruvian breeder, I figured a connection. So did Grundy. When the horse got hurt and Julio did a disappearing act with his money, everybody looked at me. That's when I took the shortest way to Hollywood in an ambulance, got my car, and made it for home. Only parked up the street from my apartment was that same 37 Packard Roadster I'd been dodging all evening. The blonde wasn't in it. She was sitting in my place looking real hopeful.
Good evening. You keep late hours, Mr. Regan.
That's the kind of friends I've got.
Perhaps you ought to change them.
I'll stick it out. What do you want?
A little chance to talk to you.
It'll keep till morning.
Oh, but Mr. Regan, I've been waiting so long, you've got to talk to me now.
Why?
I'm Davy Crockett's wife. You've got something that belongs to me.
I don't see any wedding ring.
I don't wear one.
Scare off the other boys?
That's not a very nice remark, Mr. Regan.
No, but you'll let it go.
Only because it's not important.
Oh, stop it. You're not Davy's wife. If the little guy had anybody he could trust, he wouldn't have had to call him a lion.
All right, Mr. Regan. I lied.
Now, let's have it, lady. What are you after?
A roll of film.
That figures.
It's mine.
Convince me.
Mr. Regan, you're becoming very annoying.
Well, why don't you call the police?
But I tell you, it is mine.
Let's see the pink slip.
And so it is with heavy heart we bid adieu
That's
to...
enough. Yeah. I thought I knew that voice.
Davy stole the roll from my library. Now may I have it back?
Homicide will turn it over to you when they're ready.
I can't wait.
Well, what makes it so valuable?
I'm not sure.
Then how do you know it is?
Because I'm not stupid, Mr. Regan. Somebody goes to a lot of trouble to break into my film library. But he only steals one roll of film.
Go on.
I put the police on Davy, follow them to the jail. So you go after the film. That adds up to pretty important business.
Did you push those holes in Davy?
Of course not.
Yeah, you're going to get a chance to prove that when Homicide starts speaking in your cupboard.
About the film, I'll buy it from you.
No sale. There's the door, lady. Use it. I threw the light switch and grabbed for the floor. When the noise stopped, I looked up. My landlady was going to be mad. The shots plowed a few holes into her flower pot. The blonde turned a couple of different colors and decided she could find safer company. She left with a fire escape without even goodbye. Well, I headed for the Lions. The idea being to make sure that he'd turn that film over to the police and advertise that I didn't have it anymore. I figured to cool me off and I could catch some sleep again. When I got there, the Lion looked kind of excited. He was wrapped up in a silk robe with red and gray stripes, and he carried a drink to match. He was holding a piece of that movie film up to the light.
Hey, Regan, I've been calling all over for you. Where you been?
I'm looking for a bed.
I don't pay you to sleep. You're on a job. Now, I've been thinking since you left. We're handling this wrong.
Yeah, now that's what I figured. Get on the phone.
What for?
To tell Homicide you got a package for him. You're turning over that film right now.
Easy.
You heard me, big shot. I'm tired of playing the fall guy.
Now, Regan, you don't know what you're saying. I've been running over the section on that Peruvian horse race. And you know what?
You picked the winner.
And we're going to collect.
Who's making books?
The insurance company.
Now, come on, clear it up.
Look at this clip.
Yeah.
Well, what do you see? What do you see?
Looks like a horse.
But look at him. He's way out in front. El Romano.
Yeah, maybe.
Now, here's the way I add it up. This film tells a story, or everybody wouldn't be grubbing around for it.
Well, now, that takes a big brain.
So somebody's engineering a phony.
Who?
That's what you're going to find out. But I'll tell you one thing. That nag's insured by Banner Trust, and they pay off big if we can turn up the swindle.
All right. Give me that picture.
Where you going?
Over to Grundy's to check the horse.
Now you're talking, Regan. You dig that out and we'll be eating squab.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you'll be collecting your unemployment insurance.
Yeah, well, payoff's about the same. I didn't like it any better than a fan dancer like the wind tunnel. I'd already seen enough of Grundy and his boys for one night, but when the Lion gets an idea, he's like a hangman with a new rope. So I went out to test it. I found Horace Grundy's place. It was a bright new house in the San Fernando Valley. There was some fancy fence in back, and a stable looked like the paint was still wet where it said El Romano. A trailer was parked on the road with a truck from the veterinarian. When Grundy opened the front door, it looked like he'd been sitting a 3-day wake, but without any beer.
Hello, Regan.
Well, what's the verdict?
It's bad, Regan. Bad. Tendons torn. Never run. Never.
Yeah, you said that.
I can't believe it.
Uh-huh. I knew somebody else liked animals. A guy from Gower Gulch.
Decided to talk?
Maybe. If you keep your hands in the audience.
What else did Crockett say?
Now you got him on the wheel.
All right, you drive.
That's better. You know the horse is insured?
Not by me, it isn't.
You don't own it. You just paid a deposit.
Sure, 50 G's.
You got it back yet?
There's plenty of time. Julio's in the hospital.
Oh? Well, now, if it wasn't for the accident, you would have coughed up another $200,000.
Yes. No. Oh, what difference does it make? The whole deal's a bust now.
Well, that horse is a phony.
Say some more, Regan.
I don't know much more. Davy Crockett was a movie fan.
You're doing fine. You had pictures?
I wouldn't advertise them, but there's a shot of a horse winning a race. Take a look here.
Give me that.
It's economy size. You're going to ruin your eyesight.
I got a magnifying glass for my income tax.
Now, let's get a light behind it. Now, let's see.
Horse.
You get a star.
4 white feet.
I can do that well myself.
Listen, Regan. Horse in the stable's got 3.
That does it. My boss gets promoted.
Come on outside. I'll show you.
I'll take your word for it. Let go of me. I got my information.
Maxwell, where are you?
I told you, don't whistle the bulldogs.
You're in it now, Regan. You're on my side.
I drop your blood pressure. There's a handkerchief on the plate.
Hey, wait. Hello. I look for somebody. Good morning.
Pan America.
See, I'm Julio. Is Mr. Grundy?
It's the guy with his mouth open there.
How do you do? I'm so glad to meet and talk.
Look at.
Okay?
You switch horses.
No, you'll not understand. El Romano, he kicked me.
Wait for the encore.
Mr. Grundy, with belief, I'm telling you.
Now, look, you better make it fast, Julio. This guy goes
Shut
off.
up, Regan. A man trades a stretcher for a slab. Let him talk.
The hospital. I did not go. Julio is honest. A death comes first.
The interest's going up.
When El Romano hurts himself, I know the deal is off. I know I must see the consul, so we cash the check.
What?
Here we are. 10,000, 20, 30, 40, 50. Your down payment is up. Now we are one big happy United Nations, no?
Well, that's what happened. Now there were 2 guys with their mouths open. By the time we got them closed, the little gent from Peru had waddled off someplace, and Grundy folded his money and started to laugh. He was happy, and at least I had what I came for. Figured I could dump the whole plate of spaghetti on the lion. The lead horse in the travelogue was a different nag from the one in the stable. So I got in my car and headed for home. But I picked up a newspaper on the corner, and then the whole bucket turned upside down again. The green sheet was loaded with publicity shots of El Romano from South America, and he was exactly the same oat burner that came in on the plane, feet and all. No switch there. Well, there was something phony in this act. It was that winner in that Fitzpatrick film. Well, for a minute I felt like a test pilot in a yo-yo factory, and then the string broke. I took a fast run to the Lions and one more look at those movies. I had it. The case was beginning to wind. 10 minutes later, I was back on Gower Gulch.
Yes? Who is it?
Regan, you alone?
Don't be insulting.
I'll open the door. What's the matter? You're slow.
What do you want?
Ask me in.
No.
Ask me in.
Regan, look out!
Be careful, Regan. I have a gun.
Well, Julio.
Yes, Julio.
Uh-huh. What are you doing here?
Well, I told you.
I know. Back at my place, you're aiming at her, not me. She's been to Peru. She has the films. You knew that.
You whistle like I know.
I go to the movies like everybody else. I keep my eyes on the winner. After Hollywood Park, I should have known better.
Yeah, there are lots of races.
El Romano was a dud. He came in last. 60 lengths with Davy Crockett digging in the spurs. You gave the nag a build-up, phony publicity to sucker an insurance company.
$250,000 I was over.
Can it? You could have never closed a sale without Grundy watching a workout. That would have been a slow boat to China.
You want to be a sailor, too?
Oh, stop being tough, will you? You wore yourself out when you kicked up El Romano in that plane.
It looked good.
Yeah, not to me or Joan.
Look out, Regan. You're asking for a daily double.
Well, I'm going to take it across the board. Give me that gun.
Leave me
Stop
alone.
it.
No, you're breaking my arm.
That's the idea.
I'll kick you in the stomach.
He'd better go back to his stretcher.
Well.
Yeah.
My, you can be useful.
Well, when I'm working.
What about after hours? I'm not bad, you know.
No, I never noticed.
Look again.
No, I'm all through with the ponies.
Want a bet?
Davy Crockett told me to play my hunches.
Here I am.
Yeah, but you're a loser.
What do you mean?
You threw those holes into Davy.
It was Julio.
Oh, you're trying real hard, but he was on the plane.
What do I do now?
Well, you might bid a fondue to Gower Gulch.
That's not funny, Regan.
I know it. But you ran out of film. Well, the whole thing blew up like a hoop skirt in a high wind. Julio had a real good thing until he ran into the little man with a good memory and a dame with a fast trigger finger. Her blackmail pitch was already set up, but Davy figured to queer it, so she had to knock him off. Well, the hospital boys came after Julio, and homicide dated Joan, the travel queen. The Lion was pretty excited about the way things worked out. He figured that the insurance company would come across with some green stuff for exposing a fraud. They did. That was the color of the season pass they gave him to the Burton Holmes travel lectures.
Jack Webb is featured as Jeff Regan with Herb Butterfield as Anthony J. Lyon. It's CBS at the same time next week for more hard-boiled action and mystery with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Written by Larry Roman and Jackson Gillis, produced by Sterling Tracy. Included in tonight's cast were Leo Clary, Clayton Post, Yvonne Patey, Ed Begley, and Herb Ellis. $29,000 nurses are needed to join the new Army Nurse Corps Officers Reserve. For the first time in history, qualified nurses have the opportunity of receiving commissions in the regular Army Reserve. These nurses will remain on inactive status, ready to serve their country in time of emergency. 4,000 of them, if they wish, may choose active duty. All nurses who receive commissions will benefit from the opportunity for specialized training offered to them by the Army. Inactive reserve status will not interfere with the nurse's civilian life, but the educational opportunities offered her by the Army Medical Department will be of a great advantage in her work. Don't wait. If you're a registered graduate nurse between the ages of 21 and 45, drop a card for complete information to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. Original music for this program is by Milton Charles, Bob Stevenson speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. A middle-aged businessman in your city is robbed and beaten senseless. The hold-up men escape. The victim refuses to report the crime. Your job? Investigate. You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes.
You'll find they now cost the same. But in Fatima, the difference is quality.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
So compare Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima,
the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, October 8th. It was overcast in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Didion. My name's Friday. It was 11:23 a.m. when we got to 700 South Hill Boulevard, the Butler Accordion Studios.
What do you think?
Well, I don't know. It must be upstairs, I guess, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there it is. Main office, second floor.
Yeah.
Who is that, Joe?
What?
That portrait up there on the wall.
Just a minute. Some printing underneath here.
Nice painting.
It says Damien, the father of the accordion, Vienna, 1829.
What do you know about that? Must be it down there, huh?
Yeah.
Want to try?
Yeah.
Yes, sir?
Are you Louis Butler?
Yeah, that's right. And can I help you?
Police officers, Mr. Butler. I'd like to talk to you for a minute.
Is your name Friday?
Yes, sir, that's right. This is my partner, Sergeant Romero.
How do you do?
I'm sorry, Sergeant. I told you on the phone. I just don't want to talk about it.
We'd appreciate it if we could have your cooperation. It's a pretty important matter.
Well, I'm the only one concerned in it as far as I can see. I just as soon forget the whole thing. Besides, I got a pretty busy day ahead of me.
Well, we'd like to straighten you out, Mr. Butler. It concerns a lot more people than just yourself. Now, we're not going to take much of your time. Just a few questions, that's all.
I told you on the phone, Sergeant. I don't want to talk about it. Can't you just forget about the whole thing?
It's only going to take a few minutes, sir.
All right. Come in if you want.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Place is in kind of a mess. Wife's away to mother's. Oh, you can sit down if you want.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, Pepper. I'll feed you. Just a minute.
It's a nice cat you got there. Siamese?
A little bit, yeah. It's my wife's. Don't care too much for cats myself. All right, Pepper. Now, wait a minute. Get your nose out here. Here you go, Pepper. That ought to hold you for a while.
Look at that, Joe. Sure goes for that milk, huh?
Yeah, it sure does.
You're going to have to make it fast, Sergeant. I got an appointment for lunch downtown.
All right, sir. I'd just like to have you elaborate on what Dr. Hart told us. Is he your family doctor, by the way?
Yeah, that's right. He had no business calling you in the first place. I told him I didn't want it to get out. What did he tell you?
He said you came to him for treatment night before last, and you told him you had been beaten up and robbed. He treated you for cuts and bruises about the face and head.
No, it was nothing. It didn't amount to anything.
Well, was there actually a robbery, Mr. Butler?
Believe me, Sergeant, it didn't amount to anything. I don't even want to go into it.
How much did the robbery involve? Money, I mean.
I'd rather not say. I don't want any fuss made about it. That's why I didn't report it. Just isn't worth it to me.
We understand the hold-up men took more than $800 from you. Wouldn't you like to get that money back?
I don't want to be nasty about this thing, but I was the one who was held up. Now, if I don't want to press the case, I don't see why anyone else should worry about it. It was my money.
How about the beating that thieves gave you?
It's nothing serious. It's like I told you on the phone. I want to forget about the whole thing.
Well, it must have involved more than just a few scratches from the looks of you, and the doctor had to treat you.
Take my word for it, please. I'm all right. I don't want to press charges.
Appreciate it if you'd give us some kind of an explanation, Mr. Butler.
Why? I don't want to bother, that's all. There's nothing to explain.
Well, you have to admit that this is a little unusual. Somebody beats you up, slugs you, takes $800 from you, and you don't want to do anything about it?
You're going to have to excuse me a minute. I have one of my accordion students down the hall in the practice room. Almost time for him to go. I have to give him his lesson for next week.
All right, sure, go right ahead.
It'll only be a minute.
How about that?
Yeah.
Acts like he's scared to death.
Well, whoever it was, they gave him a going over. Half of his head in bandages, face all swollen.
Sure something phony.
Well, he's not going to be much help unless we can talk him into a crime report. Huh?
Somebody's got to him. I'll bet on it. Oh, hi there, Kitty. Hi, Kitty.
I've been thinking it over, officers. Sorry I had to come out here, go to all this trouble, but I just as soon forget the whole thing. I don't even want to talk about it if you don't mind.
We don't mean to high pressure you, Butler, but we'd like some kind of an explanation.
Well, can't you understand? I just don't want to make a big fuss about it. I'd like to have you go along with my feelings in the matter. It's my affair, isn't it?
No, sir, it's ours, too. Half a dozen people like yourself have been beaten up and robbed in this neighborhood, all in the last 5 weeks. Now, if we can find the thieves, we can put a stop to it. We can make sure the same thing doesn't happen to your neighbors.
Well, they're going to have to look out for themselves. I'm not getting tied up in a big investigation. The neighbors don't worry about me.
Freddie goes a little further than that.
What?
You've been beaten up and robbed once. How do you know it isn't going to happen again?
Well, it's not, that's all. I'll make sure it doesn't.
How? What's going to stop the same thieves from knocking you over again?
Look, if it's all the same to you, I want to forget about this. I'm going to have to be running along. It's getting late.
No, there's just one more thing, Butler. When the doctor was treating you the other night, this Dr. Hart, he says you told him that you knew who the hold-up men were. Now, is that right?
No, he got it all mixed up. I didn't mean it that way.
How did you mean it?
I'm in a funny position. I just can't explain, that's all. I can't take the chance.
Did the hold-up men threaten you?
I can't talk about it. Give me a break, please.
You're making a mistake, mister. Play ball with those thieves and they'll ruin you.
It's not only me, it's my family, too. I'm not going to take the chance.
If they threatened you and your family, you're taking more of a chance keeping quiet about it. They'll bleed you white. Blackmail, robbery, anything you can think of. Now, this has happened before.
Can't you see the spot I'm in? I know who they are. I know what they can do. I got a wife to think about. Would you put your family in that position?
You're buying protection from a couple of hoods. Now, figure it out. How much is it worth? How far can you trust them?
If you pick them up, they'll know I told you. I don't want anything to happen. Can't you see that I haven't any choice? What else can I do?
Help us put the thieves where they belong. You'll have all the protection you need till they're locked up.
It's a big order. I don't know.
You and your wife will be under 24-hour guard. Now, that's a promise.
How long would that have to go on?
Long enough to bring them to trial and convict them? Now, how about it?
They warned me about telling the police. They said they'd get both of us if I did, me and my wife. Now, they meant it, too. They'd get us. What can you do about it?
Get them first. After another hour of talking, we finally persuaded the robbery victim, Louis Butler, to come downtown with us. He dictated a full statement about the holdup and filed a crime report. He told us he'd been robbed and slugged late at night a few blocks from his music studio. $820 had been taken from him by two bandits, both of whom were armed, both of whom he recognized. He said one of the men was a Marvin Carter, a former bartender at a neighborhood tavern. The other was Ralph Quincy, a merchant seaman. We went across the street and met with Deputy District Attorney Fred Henderson. The next day, the case was presented to the grand jury and a true bill was returned. The two suspects, Marvin Carter and Ralph Quincy, were indicted on one count of armed robbery. That afternoon, both of them were booked at the main jail and then released after posting a required bail of $10,000. 4:30 p.m. Ben and I went back to the office and met with Captain Didion.
How are you making out on it? Pretty fair shape, Skipper. The arraignment's set for 2 weeks from Thursday. How about protection for the victim?
Well, it's all set up. Butler and his wife are under 24-hour guard. 3 teams of men on it.
There's 2 thieves getting out on bail. It's not going to make it any easier. Who are you working with from the DA's office? Henderson. Seems to think we've got enough to convict both men. What makes him so sure?
Well, for one thing, we got a line on a couple of good witnesses to the holdup.
Excuse me. Robbery, Didion. Yeah, Mike. No, I'll check it before I leave. Right. What was that about witness?
A man by the name of Bartlett runs a drugstore. He and his son were in the neighborhood when Louis Butler was held up. They're supposed to have spotted the 2 thieves running from the scene.
Have you talked to him yet? Just over the phone. We've got an appointment with him at 6 o'clock tonight to take their statement. I guess I don't have to tell you. Stay as close to this thing as you can. If we miss this time, we may not get another chance. You know as well as anyone how tough it's been reaching these thieves.
Yeah. Well, we wouldn't be this far along if Butler didn't decide to cooperate and file charges.
I wish I knew how many victims there are in this thing just like Butler. People we don't even know about, so scared they don't dare file charges. Guess there's a dozen of them anyway. I can't figure. People hire a police force on salary to protect them and their property, then they turn around and try to make a deal with a bunch of hoods, buy them off. How far have you gotten on the hold-up gang?
Well, how do you mean?
The 2 men you've got tabbed, Carter and Quincy. Anyone else working with them?
Possible, not sure yet. Both Carter and Quincy have juvenile records. That's about it. We're still checking on them.
Robbery, Didion? Yeah, Tom. That's right. No, I'll tell them they're here with me now. Right, thank you. It started already. How's that? The victim, Louis Butler, he got a phone call at his house a few minutes ago.
Yeah?
Figured it was one of the hold-up gang. They gave Butler a choice.
What'd he say?
Either he drops the charges or they'll kill him.
"5:30 p.m. Captain Didion issued orders that the two suspects in the case, Marvin Carter and Ralph Quincy, be placed under 24-hour surveillance. An additional team of men was assigned to guard Louis Butler. Each officer was carefully instructed to take all possible precautions to prevent the robbery victim and his wife from being harmed in any way. 6 p.m. Ben and I met with the two witnesses to the holdup, a drugstore proprietor, Sam Bartlett, and his teenage son, Harold. They told us that they'd been in the immediate vicinity the night Butler was robbed, and that they'd gotten a good look at the two gunmen as they ran from the scene of the holdup. Bartlett and his son Harold identified the suspects as Marvin Carter and Ralph Quincy. Statements were taken, and both witnesses were warned to maintain absolute secrecy about their part in the case. Next day, we made arrangements to have the druggist and his son subpoenaed for the Superior Court arraignment. 6 days went by. Thursday, October 17th, 8 a.m. We checked in the office and found a message waiting for us.
What is it, Joe?
The druggist's son, Harold Bartlett.
What about him?
Found him in an alley, 3 o'clock this morning.
What?
Yeah, slugged and beaten. Late that afternoon, Ben and I received permission from the doctors to visit briefly with our witness, 17-year-old Harold Bartlett. His injuries were painful but not critical. The beating he'd received was nothing less than brutal. His left forearm had been broken, and he'd been beaten viciously about the face and chest. He told us that he was on his way home from a neighborhood movie just before midnight when two men jumped him from behind on a deserted street.
Well, I drove around some, maybe 5 or 10 minutes. There must have been at least 3 men in the car.
Why do you say that?
Well, there were two in the back seat with me. Somebody else had to be doing the driving.
Mm-hmm. And it had to be a sedan or a club coupe.
I guess so, yeah. After we drove around a while, they stopped the car and then they began slugging me. Didn't say a word the whole time, just started slugging me. I asked them why. They just kept slugging me.
I see.
At first, I think they were hitting me with their fists. It felt like something a lot harder. A piece of iron or metal or something. That's when I grabbed the cloth off of my face and I started to holler.
Mm-hmm. What happened then?
Oh, I guess nobody heard me. Nobody came anyway. One of the men swore at me and grabbed my arm. Hit it with something. Sure sore.
They didn't say anything to you all this time?
No. Not till just before they pushed me out of the car. It seemed like I was at that car for hours.
When they started to talk to you, Harry, what'd they say?
It was about that robbery my father and me saw. The one you talked to us about last week?
Mm-hmm. What'd they say about it?
I said, maybe this will help you keep your mouth shut. Stay out of other people's business. They said that a couple of times. They said a lot more had happened to Dad and me if we went to the police. If we were witnesses at that trial.
You remember if the men called each other by name?
No, I don't. I don't remember anyway.
Well, son, you remember when we talked to you and your father last week, we told you to say nothing about the case to anyone, didn't we?
I remember, Sergeant. I guess it's my fault.
Well, did you tell other people that you were a witness in the case? Did you mention it in public?
I guess I did, yeah. I didn't think it was that important. I guess I talked about it quite a bit. I'm sorry. It's my fault.
That's all right, Harry. If you remember it from now on, it'll save a lot more trouble.
I remember, Sergeant. Those two men last night scared me for a while. Guess most of it was talk, huh?
How do you mean, sir?
They never warned me about staying away from the cops. They said they'd kill me and my dad if we were witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
They were probably just trying to scare us, huh? They were fooling?
Well, you had a sample last night, son.
Yeah?
Were they fooling? After we left Harry Bartlett, we went back to the office and arranged for a 24-hour guard to be assigned to the teenage boy and his father. A thorough investigation of the attack on the boy failed to turn up any leads. On the surface, the two robbery suspects, Carter and Quincy, were not involved. During the week that followed, we heard of no further threats or attacks, either on the victim, Louis Butler, or the witnesses involved in the case. Ben and I worked with Deputy District Attorney Henderson, preparing the case against the two suspects. 2 days before the trial opened in Superior Court, we got an urgent call.
Yeah, I know, but how did it happen? Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're all right, Tom, thanks.
Well, what's the trouble?
Couldn't be worse. No victim.
What do you mean?
Mr. and Mrs. Butler have disappeared.
You are listening to Dragnet. From beginning to end, Dragnet is the authentic story of your police force in action.
Now, from beginning to end, the Fatima story. Actual convincing proof that in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Quality of tobaccos. The finest domestic and Turkish varieties, extra mild and superbly blended to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, round, perfect cigarettes. Rolled in the finest paper money can buy. Manufactured in the newest and most modern of all cigarette factories.
Quality even to the appearance of the bright, clean, gold and yellow package, carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, more long cigarette smokers are now insisting on Fatima than ever before.
So if you smoke a long cigarette, compare Fatima. You'll find they now cost the same, but your first puff will tell you,
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Insist on Fatima. Start enjoying the quality king-size cigarette. Fatima. Best of all long cigarettes.
Tuesday, November 5th, 9 a.m. The trial of robbery suspects Marvin Carter and Ralph Quincy opened in Superior Court, Department 88. The complaining witness, Louis Butler, failed to appear. For 2 solid days, we'd been busy checking all of the Butler's friends and relatives in the city. They couldn't help. Each time the Butlers had left their residence, they'd been under surveillance. We'd had an understanding with them that in the event that they were in their automobile, and for some reason the officers assigned to them lost them in traffic, the Butlers would immediately return to their home. On the night of November 3rd, under the pretext of going to a neighborhood theater, the Butlers made a right-hand turn from a left-hand lane of traffic, so it became obvious that they were trying to elude the officers following them. A check was made at their home as prearranged, and they failed to return. When they failed to appear for the trial, a bench warrant was issued by Superior Court for the missing couple. Deputy District Attorney Henderson asked the court to grant a delay in order to find the Butlers. It was granted. In the meantime, we'd gotten out a broadcast and an APB. Missing persons detail helped out in the search. Still no sign. Tuesday, November 12th, 11 a.m. Deputy D.A. Henderson phoned us from the Hall of Justice.
When was that, Fred? Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, thanks a lot.
What do you have to say?
The attorney for Carter and Quincy asked the court for dismissal, no complaining witness.
Oh, the judge ruled on it yet?
Yeah, case dismissed.
No matter how guilty the 2 men might have seemed, there was nothing further anyone could do. Without a complaining witness, our case was finished. The 2 suspects, Carter and Quincy, were released from custody. In a few days, Quincy left town for the east. Carter remained in the city. The search for Mr. and Mrs. Butler went on. No sign of either one of them. December came, and then the Christmas holidays, New Year's. On January 16th, Louis Butler suddenly reappeared back in town and surrendered on the bench warrant. They explained to the judge that because of the numerous threats on their lives just before the trial, they were afraid to appear, and that they left the state without telling anyone. The judge gave them a lecture and a warning and dismissed charges. Another month passed, February and then March. On April 2nd, we got word from Denver, Colorado, that one of our former robbery suspects, Ralph Quincy, had shot and killed a 24-year-old policeman while attempting a robbery in that city. Quincy was tried and convicted of murder and received a life term. In the meantime, we'd heard little or nothing about the other former robbery suspect, Marvin Carter. Another 2 months passed. Spring months wore on into summer. Monday, July 8th, 8 a.m.
Friday, Romero, see you a minute.
Yes, Skipper?
You want to sit down? I got something for you.
Yeah.
A hold-up victim, man by the name of Sheridan, came in late last night, filed this crime report here. Have a look.
Let's see, Joe.
You can notice there it happened in the same area where we had that rash of hold-ups last fall.
Yeah, I see. Victim robbed and beaten.
Suspects used the same approach, same M.O. Followed it right down the line.
Yeah. Victim warned not to contact police. Bodily harm threatened if victim did so.
How about the descriptions of the hold-up men here? The victim pretty sure about them?
Gaffney handled the report. The victim said he got a good look at one of the thieves. Gaffney gave him a bunch of mug shots to look at.
Yeah.
Here's the one he picked out of the lot.
Thanks. Have a look, Joe. Marvin Carter.
As soon as the robbery report had come in, an immediate check had been made of Marvin Carter's last known address, an apartment in the West Pico district. The landlord revealed that the suspect had moved at least 2 months before. We got out a broadcast and an APB on him. Together with Sergeants Gonzalez and Henry, Ben and I started on a systematic check of all of Carter's known friends, relatives, and associates. After that, we started on the places he was known to frequent: hotels, bars, restaurants. No luck. 2 weeks went by. There were no further reports of robberies where the M.O. of the criminal matched that of Carter's. Tuesday, July 26, 2 p.m. We got a call from one of our informants, Bertie Simmons, who told us that he might have some information for us. He said it concerned Marvin Carter. He told us he'd meet us at MacArthur Park on the 6th Street side at 2:30 p.m. 2:50 p.m.
You'll have to excuse me, Sergeant. Sorry I'm late. I had to move from that other place. Things haven't been going too good for me.
That's all right, Bertie. What's the matter? No luck with the horses?
Yeah, a lot of luck. It's all bad. If there's a pig in the race, I have to bet on him every time. Getting so I can't even pick him to show anymore. I don't know.
What else is new with you, Bertie? No job yet?
No, I'm still looking, but down around some of the joints, South Main, Alameda, keeping it near to the ground.
Mm-hmm. Want a smoke?
Yeah, thanks. Don't mind if I do.
There you go. Light for you.
What have you heard, Bertie? Anything that'll help?
That Marvin Carter, you're still looking for him, aren't you?
That's right. Any rumble?
I heard it last night having a beer downtown. I knew you fellows were in a little bind on the thing. I always like to help you when you're in a bind.
Well, what'd you hear, Bert?
Carter's still in town, hiding out. Like I say, I always like to help you out when you need it.
Mm-hmm.
I know what it is to be in a bind. That's when you appreciate help most. I'm kind of in a bind right now. A little short, you know.
A couple of dollars, Bert. That's all I have on me. Will that help you out any?
Saved my life, Sergeant. Tell you the truth, I didn't know where dinner was coming from tonight. No need telling you. I appreciate it.
What was this you heard about Carter?
Still in town. There's a place down by Venice, near the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Carter's been seen there once, twice lately. It's a little seafood joint, beer and clams, down by the beach.
Well, now, is that somebody's story, or is it the real thing, Bert?
The real thing, Sergeant. You know me better than that. No phony leads from me.
Where's Carter supposed to be staying down there, do you know?
Well, I do and I don't, I guess.
What do you mean?
This mooch who told me about Carter last night, he didn't know the address, but he described the place Carter's supposed to be hiding out in. I know the joint he means.
But you don't know the address.
No, but I can point out the place he means. It's a shack right along the speedway down there, down by the beach.
Mm-hmm.
You want to run down there with us now?
Sure, I'll point it out for you. I'm not going near it, though.
Why do you say that?
Don't want to mix with it, that's all. I got the word.
What do you mean?
Carter. Won't be an easy one to take.
How do you know?
He's got a gun.
2:55 p.m. Along with our informant, Bertie Simmons, Ben and I drove down to the beach town of Venice. Bertie pointed out a brown wooden frame cottage where Carter was supposed to be hiding out. While Bertie waited in the car, Ben and I checked it out. There was nobody at home, but there was plenty of evidence inside the cottage that Carter was living there. I went back down the street to where we'd parked our car. I kept an eye on the cottage while Ben got to a phone to call the office.
Pretty down here, huh, Sergeant?
Yeah, it's a nice day.
I don't get out in the air enough. I think that's my trouble. Some of this good ocean air makes you feel like a million.
Yeah.
Did you notice the place where your partner went to phone down the street there?
Yeah, what about it?
You see the sign, beer and clams? Right over the door. Beer and clams?
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Best in the city, I know. I've been there. Only great. Good beer for a dime, fresh clams. Nothing better. You like clams?
Yeah, they're all right once in a while.
What am I going to do if you two have to wait here all night?
Well, we'll get you back to town, Bert. We'll figure out something for you. Hi, Ben. Did you get a hold of the captain?
Yeah. Marvin Carter was picked up downtown 20 minutes ago.
What?
Yeah, he's driving a rented car. Traffic unit picked him up.
Will they tab him on his description?
Not at first. The reason they noticed him was because he was double parked on a busy street, and they pulled him over and got a better look at him. I did it.
Any trouble with him?
None at all. Got him booked at Main Jail.
Say, that's sure too bad, and...
What do you mean, Bert?
It's your case, isn't it? How long you fellas been working on it?
Just about a year, huh, Joe?
Yeah, just about.
Coming all this way for nothing. You're ready to make the pinch and somebody else does it for you. Must be kind of disappointing, huh? All that time, all that work?
Well, Carter's in jail. That's the main thing. Well, I guess we better drive back in, huh, Ben?
Yeah. Say, just a minute, Sergeant. No use coming all this way for nothing. Wonder if you'd do me a favor.
What's that, Bert?
That sign down the street.
What?
The blue and white sign, beer and clam. Wonder if you could drop me off right in front. Beer and clam?
Oh, yeah, Bert, all right.
Sure nice of you. Just like I was saying.
What's that?
No use coming all this way for nothing.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On October 29th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 86, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Friends, let me tell you how to size up king-size cigarettes. First, take a Fatima, and then any other king size. Now, side by side, the two look alike, but they're not, because no other king-size cigarette has Fatima quality. That's right. In Fatima, the difference is quality. Quality that results from a blend of the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos. Quality that gives you extra mildness, a much better flavor and aroma. Remember, if you haven't tried Fatima yet, take my advice. Buy a pack. Smoke Fatimas and you'll discover what I know. In Fatima, the difference is quality.
Marvin Lawrence Carter was tried and convicted on several counts of first-degree robbery and was sentenced to the state penitentiary where he is now serving his term. First-degree robbery is punishable by imprisonment from 5 years to life.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Lyle Rooks, editor of Radio Television Mirror.
The readers of Radio Television Mirror have chosen Dragnet, the favorite program of its type, for 1950. I am privileged to present the citation to you on behalf of the editors and readers of Radio Television Mirror throughout the nation.
Thank you, Miss Rooks.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
Stay tuned for Counter Spy next over many NBC stations.
Novak For Hire.
Sure. I'm Pat Novak For Hire. That's what the sign out in front of my office says. Pat Novak For Hire. It's up there in block letters, but down on the waterfront in San Francisco, good printing doesn't mean a thing. You get that on a death certificate. If you're trying to make a living down here, you're not going to have any standing in the community except in a police lineup. I rent boats and do anything else that goes with a weak will and a strong stomach. Well, it's not all bad. Once in a while, something happens that makes you feel good for a moment. Like remembering somebody you kissed a long time ago. But most of the time, you buy your beer the hard way. It works out all right because most people learn to fall in love with a dollar bill and forget about trouble. And everything sounds all right, but sometimes it isn't. Like saying Happy New Year to a lifer. I found that out Wednesday night. I was sitting in the office with a sports page reading about those big tears that Washington senators were shedding when I saw Crockett Odom for the first time. He was a big red-faced guy, and the veins stood out on his face and made a pattern as if he slept on an alligator bag instead of a pillow. He walked over to the desk and started to get quiet in a loud voice.
I want to talk to you, Mr. Novak.
Go ahead, pile up a lead.
My name's Odom. You've heard of Crockett Odom?
I don't get around. Tell me about it.
I'm a lawyer. I want you to watch a client for me. Her name is Wendy Morris.
Is she hard to watch?
You can get bloodshot eyes just looking at her. She drinks a little.
What's a little?
How should I answer that?
Any way you like. A pint, a quart. What's a little, Odom? Is she a dipso?
We'll leave it there. She can make a quart of gin disappear while anybody else is looking for the corkscrew.
Mm-hmm. What am I supposed to do? Hide the bottles?
Mr. Novak, a full-grown octopus couldn't do that. I'm afraid this is more serious. It involves her husband.
Let her take a drink and lose him. It'll save you money.
It involves her husband or somebody who's supposed to be her husband.
She got a bad memory?
She's a very wealthy girl, Mr. Novak. 5 years ago, she married a man by the name of Stanley Morris. Immediately after, he went into uniform.
You make it sound selfish.
She's been gone ever since, until a month ago. Spent most of that time overseas. The rest in a government hospital.
Yeah?
Now that he's back, something very peculiar has happened. I don't think the man is her husband.
Well, that's the hard part to play. She got any theories?
I think she suspects, too. I don't know why I feel that way. He seems to have picked up where he left off. Knows everything about her. Seems normal, but I'm sure the man is an imposter.
Look, Odom, find a corner and patch up that story. You can't get that nearsighted on 5 years' booze.
You don't understand, Mr. Novak. He was seriously injured. That makes identification hard.
You think Stanley Morris is dead?
I think he died somewhere along the line. This man took his place.
That's a lot of trouble just to share a boarding room with a boozer.
Not if he can share it with someone else on her money. That's why I want you to watch her, particularly tonight.
Why tonight? Is Stanley full of temper?
It's been leading up to this. He wants her to go to a gambling club. And I know he's too friendly with the owner of the club. I want you to go along as a friend.
Now, look, mister, I wouldn't go as her friend to a masquerade ball. If you're making a deal, make it out in the open.
Do it your own way, Novak. It's $300. Earn it any way you can.
Yeah. Where's the club?
She'll take you. Just pick her up at this address.
Mm-hmm. Does she know about it?
She'll understand you. In fact, that's the only risk you run. I told you she drinks most of the time. But when she doesn't, you're the type she gobbles up.
Yeah, I'll bring some cheese instead.
That won't do any good. It's not the flavor she likes, Mr. Novak. It's the crunch. Good night.
When Odom walked out of there, I knew he was the kind of a guy who'd put the wolf at your door if he could get one wholesale. On the way up the pier, he stopped and looked out at the bay as if he intended to do away with it before morning. And then he turned and disappeared around the corner. Well, I sat there for a while, and I went over his story. I was sure it wouldn't hold any more water than a gross of holes, but I had no way of checking. Finally, about 7 o'clock, I closed the office, and I went by the address he gave me. It was a modernistic apartment up on Telegraph Hill, one of those places where they let a guy out of the basement long enough to paint murals on the front. This one had a guy waving a blonde wig in front of a tired old monk named Faust. Wendy Morris' apartment was up on the second floor, and when I rang the buzzer, she opened the door with a nice, easy motion, like a cat getting ready to eat its young. I could see right away what Odom was talking about. If you ever build a house, you'd want somebody like her in the blueprint. She leaned against the doorway, and she was wearing a crepe evening gown that was supposed to let you know that nature had given her a square deal. She didn't say anything at first. She just kept fingering her glass and looking at you as if you knew she was full of gin and comfort.
It makes a nice rattle. Are you Mr. Novak?
Yeah, I rattle, too. Invite me in.
I bet you do. Come in.
Yeah.
They all paid to like me. Will a drink help, Mr. Novak?
Yeah.
Sit down. I'll get some soda.
No, this will do.
What did Crockett tell you?
He said you got thirsty.
Did he mention men? Crockett thinks they're related. His sole confession of the medical profession.
He mentioned your husband. Where is he?
I thought that was the problem.
Sounds phony. There must be a way to spot old husbands.
How?
I wouldn't know. Do you think Stanley Morris is dead?
I don't know, Mr. Novak.
Do you care either way?
As long as I'm safe, no. Stanley was no bargain.
Why'd you marry him?
I don't know. I suppose I confused the hangover with love.
Well, he sounds exciting.
About as lively as a dish rag in a steam bath.
It doesn't make any difference now, Mr. Novak. I'm frightened. You've got to help me.
You're in for $300, that's all. Where is this gambling joint?
Out on Gary Boulevard. It's called the Mother Lode. The sense of humor belongs to Frankie Fannin.
Is he funny enough to deal with Stanley?
I don't know. Stanley's been out there every night for 2 weeks. Now he's forcing me to go. There must be a reason.
There must be a reason for what?
Don't tempt me, Stanley. This is Mr. Novak, my husband.
I never heard of you, Novak. You got me worried.
He's a friend of mine.
What does he do, drive a beer truck?
My husband is being subtle, Mr. Novak. He's going with us, Dan.
We don't know anybody well enough to take him with us.
You don't have to feel burdened. I'll take him.
Aren't you wearing out that leash?
Now, look, mister, I'm here on a straight deal. Cash and carry, and your credit's through. From now on, that mouth of yours costs you dough.
Go ahead and pout, Dan. You look better with your lips turned in.
All right, if you like him, he goes. I'll have to make another reservation. Hand me the phone, Novak.
Yeah. Here.
Thanks. Let's go, Wendy. Your friend backed out.
I hope they got a good price for my head, because when I started down, shoulder blades were the best I could do for height. I rolled over once, and then I stretched out on the floor as hard as a piece of chewing gum on the theater seat. I don't know how long I chased that woman in the bathing suit. Must have been about an hour when the phone began to ring. I tried to get up once or twice, but I couldn't get the boxcar off my chest, and the phone kept ringing like a piece of crystal in a hailstorm. I finally made a ladder out of my knees and got to the phone. Yeah.
How's your head?
It's a little right. What's on your mind?
Something's gone wrong. I have to meet you.
Not at these prices.
I just got a message from Crockett Odom. I'm leaving now. I want you to meet me in room 314 of the Galbraith Hotel.
Where is it?
Third-rate trap on Powell Street. It's important. Will you come?
Yeah.
And I'm sorry about your head. I'll have to rub the bruise for you.
Wait till I get there. You can rub one of your own. She was right about that hotel. In a good season, they couldn't have drawn transient mice. I got there about 9:45. I rode up to room 314. There was nobody there. So I sat down and started to wait. The floor was quiet, except down at the end of the hall, somebody was playing a phonograph record. The music was thin but loud, and I knew they were old records, way back when this bird Bix was a man instead of a memory. It stopped after a while, and I looked at my watch. It was after 10, so I left the hotel and I went out to the gambling joint. I toured the room, but I couldn't find Wendy or Stan. I got a guy at the window, and he remembered somebody like Wendy, so I asked about her. He just pointed over at Frankie Fannin's office and went on making change. I crossed over and knocked at the door. The guy that opened it had a face like 3 pounds of warm putty. It was moist and pink, and we got the idea they put the color in with a spray gun. And if his heart was made of the same stuff, they drained the oil out first.
Yeah?
My name's Novak.
Who's arguing?
I want to talk to you.
Yeah?
Where's Wendy Morris?
I don't know.
She was in here tonight.
It's a jail term. I don't follow women home.
Am I supposed to buy that?
Look, Junior, I don't care whether you live or die. I haven't seen her.
How about her husband?
He owes me dough.
What else?
Ask his wife. He's an IOU to me. I don't know what you're doing here, but you better make your point fast.
Now, look, Fannin, if you got a party, I don't want to blow out the candles, but I want some answers.
Yeah?
She got boosted in here tonight. Why?
I brought her in for word games. I told her if her husband didn't square his fill, I'd work him into hamburger.
Yeah?
She offered to bring the buns. Now, that's all the talk you get, mister. Tip the girl on your way out. I need the money. Come in.
Choose up and tell me which one's Novak.
I am. What's on your mind?
And the other guy's Lucky. I'm Craig from Homicide.
Where's Hellman?
He's got a mouth full of canary, Novak.
That's right. I just left room 314 of the Galbraith Hotel.
So did I.
2 of us made it then. The girl didn't.
Novak, he's trying to tell you Wendy Morris is dead.
How do you know she's dead?
It's the only reason cops drool.
You want to see her, Novak?
No. She was better alive.
Come on down anyway. Maybe I didn't try hard enough.
When I walked out of there, I felt like a voice teacher with adenoids. Whoever Craig was, he was smart, and he tagged all the bases because
As we moved through the lobby, he motioned to me, and the desk clerk nodded. Well, I didn't worry about that desk clerk because he hadn't said no for years. But when we got to room 314, I needed China passage. There were 3 or 4 of Craig's men grouped along the dim hall like dirty shadows, and inside, Wendy Morris was stretched out looking in the wrong direction. There was a white sheet draped over, and I wondered where the hotel had borrowed that, but Craig wanted to talk.
You must have had a big beef, Novak.
Sorry, we were friends.
I'll bet that was fun.
I was supposed to meet her here. She didn't show.
The desk clerk says she did.
Not while I was here. I was in that gambling joint by 10:30.
The desk clerk says you asked about Wendy Morris. Then you came up here and killed her. That's the way I'm going to book you.
Check on her husband. You can fit him in near the top of the list.
She got one? It's a lot of blonde hair to keep indoors.
Huh?
Good blondes run like salmon.
Wait a minute, Craig. Give me that sheet. Well.
Yeah?
Craig, you better not book me for Wendy Morris.
Huh?
If you do, you'll mix up all the on-duty angels because somebody killed the wrong woman. This isn't Wendy Morris.
You must be wrong. How do you know?
How does anybody know? They look different. They got different personalities. Take your pick, Craig, but somebody got the wrong woman.
Take another look.
I don't need another with Wendy. The first look's for names and faces.
Yeah?
If you take a second look, mister, it's for love. I guess Craig liked to pick his dead because when he found out the woman on the floor was somebody else, he started to shake a little and his mouth hung open like a broken screen door. I didn't blame him much. I tried to think back and piece it together, but it wouldn't work out. It almost made sense, like the broken phrases of an old conversation, but not enough of it came back, and, well, there was still something missing. What happened to Wendy Morris, and how about this girl on the floor? Where did she get her drag with heaven? I looked down at her again. She was pretty, if you like quiet girls. She had a vacant look in her eyes as if the brains had checked out without letting her know. And the color was starting to leave her face. The light was bad, and you had to look close to see her skin. There were little splotches of pink, and the rest was white, like shrimp that hadn't been boiled long enough. Craig was worried, and that's something he couldn't hide.
Who is she, Novak?
I don't know, Craig. We didn't meet her soon enough to know. You should have checked.
The hotel register says Wendy Morris.
Who read it for you? Oh, you're tough, Craig. I'll bet you got the wino scared stiff.
Keep on talking. I'll get you some help. Come on in. He wants to make a statement. On the bed, Novak.
Where'd you get your boys, Craig? They look tired.
On the bed, Novak. All right, Joe, take his arm.
Yeah.
The other two, hold his head back against the bed. Okay. Where's Wendy Morris, Novak?
I don't know, Copper. You sure you're from homicide?
So it's against the law. Don't tell anybody. Now make a statement, Novak.
Yeah. Here's a statement about you, Craig.
We'll find out downtown. You can save some teeth. Where's the other girl?
I don't know.
Hold him up. Yeah. Where's Wendy Morris?
Craig, you can go.
Put his head against the bed.
It's for exercise now, Craig.
All right, he's not a season pass. We don't have to hang on to him.
Craig's boys left me hanging on the foot of the bed with somebody's dirty towel and an old garter the maid forgot to pick up last month. I felt my way down to the lobby and into the street, and most of the time, one question kept going through my mind. Craig was going to run me in before. Why had he changed his mind? Well, I found out when I started to turn the corner. Craig had a tail on me, and he was real hard to spot, like a red Nash at the top of the mark. He moved out from under a light near the pool room on the corner, and I watched him in the windows as we walked along. After a while, I quit worrying about him because I knew in a pinch he couldn't follow a conversation with a printed form. Well, I had a lot of ground to cover, so I looked up Jocko Madigan. He's a good guy, and he was a smart one, too. Until he found out if your eyes get red enough, you don't need rose-colored glasses. I finally found him at the cafe house, as tight as a tennis racket in the rain.
God rest ye merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay.
Jocko, I want to talk to you.
Some belated Christmas carols, Patsy. The piano player quit and everybody else dropped out, so I'm doing it a cappella by myself.
All right, Jocko.
Christmas eluded me, Patsy. I got up through Christmas Eve, and then I seem to have missed Christmas entirely. Did they hold it this year?
Well, it wouldn't happen if you'd get up in the morning.
I refuse to get up early, Patsy. I refuse to get up in the morning until the streets have been aired. The only things that should be around at that hour are peasants and a bunch of random dew.
Jocko, will you listen? I'm in trouble.
I'm not surprised, because you're a counterfeit, Patsy. You're a piece of plate in a room full of sterling. You're like some of the rest of these people running around in a hurry.
Jocko, please.
Just plunging into anything. Look at the papers. Some people have spent years shooting a rocket 110 miles into the air. What's the use?
Will you listen?
What's the use? When you get 110 miles up, all you can do is turn around and come on back down again. We're killing time 110 miles in the air instead of learning to spend it down here.
All right.
Oh, it's depressing, Patsy. Running around in a frenzy like a rooster in a barnyard full of ducks. I'm ready to take to drink.
Are you all through, Jocko?
Yes. Humanity's a tough life. What kind of trouble?
I bought a murder rap for $300.
Well, if it's a bargain, why complain? Who's dead?
I don't know who she is. Homicide found her in a hotel on Powell Street. I tagged by before the murder.
Serves her right. If I were a woman, I wouldn't trust you in the middle of Stanford Stadium with 80,000 people.
It was the wrong woman. It was supposed to be a gal named Wendy Morris, but she didn't show.
Oh, that was shrewd of her.
I was hired by a lawyer named Crockett Odom to watch her.
Why?
She's a dipso.
She must have some faults.
Odom suspects her husband. He was in uniform, and now that he's back, Odom figures he's a fraud out for the girl's money.
Can't the girl tell the difference?
She's not sure.
I don't think she was observant.
Now, look, this is a big story, Jocko. I can't fill in all the holes. You got to help me. I want you to check on Crockett Odom, will you?
I'll need some money.
Oh, you'll booze it away. Now, hurry, Jocko. If you need money, get a job.
Oh, I can't go to work, Patsy. I'm a victim of my own conscience.
Yeah.
I'm stuck with a dilemma. I'm willing to go to work, but I work too cheaply. And on the other hand, I'll not support slave labor. So it's morally impossible for me to go to work. Good night, lover.
It was about 11:30 when I left Jocko, and the two beatings began to catch up with me. I had enough headache to pass out to a Bay Meadows crowd on a bad day. The tail behind me began to look tired, so I dropped by headquarters to give him a rest. I asked for the head of homicide, but the desk told me that Hellman was on his honeymoon, and they kind of laughed when they said it, as if they thought he got the girl there on a bench warrant. All they'd done at headquarters was identify the dead woman. Her name was Emily Van Kirk, and she had no record. I dropped by the hotel, and the first break showed down there. The desk clerk knew about Emily Van Kirk. He'd mixed the rooms up, and he'd put Wendy in the wrong one. That meant that maybe she was at the hotel after all. It also meant that Emily was in the clear. She was just a girl on her way to Seattle, and she got a longer ride than she paid for. I called Wendy's, but I couldn't get an answer, so I dropped by my place to wait for Jocko. Stanley Morris was there, chewing his fingernails, and when I walked in, he was up to the wristwatch.
Mr. Novak, where's my wife? You're hiding her.
She's good enough to hide, but this isn't the night.
Where is she? She must have gone to you after that hotel.
How do you know she was there? Did you drop by, too?
Doesn't make any difference.
Well, it makes a big difference to me. We're all out of phones. Now tell me about that hotel.
Crockett Odom told me to come there.
Why?
I don't know. I was supposed to be there at 10:30. It was some kind of a crazy scheme.
Was the dead girl mixed up in one?
Sorry it wasn't Wendy. Odom tried to break up this marriage. I wish he had.
You sound feeble, mister.
You don't know her the way I do. She's a cold-blooded animal. The only cold-blooded animal that doesn't bear fur.
You're building a case.
I don't know what'd have her around. I suppose you would. There's a certain localized beauty you'd go for, but nobody else would have her. They'd find out what she is, a puff adder with a good figure.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Huh?
We got company. Somebody's coming in the door. Watch it. There goes the light. Stand back. He couldn't have died any faster with a priority. I got to the door and threw on the light switch, but whoever it was had gone, and the hall was dark. When I got back to Stan, he was lying there like a well-trained sponge. He wasn't a good enough guy to bleed in the living room, so I dragged him into the kitchen and left by the back way. I had to get word to Jocko, so I left a message at his place telling him to get in touch with me at Wendy's. I went up there to sit on her doorstep and wait if it took all night. I wasn't going to freeze, though, because she opened the door as soon as I knocked. She was still wearing that crepe gown, and she was yawning and stretching her arms. Oh, you might not want to bring her home to Mother, but you'd want to start anyway.
Do you always look at women this way, Patsy? I feel like Eve.
And I'll bet you got a kitchen full of apples. Do I argue or come in?
You may argue, but do it in here.
Yeah. When'd you get back?
Why?
Somebody just killed Stan.
If you're sure, the drinks are on me.
He didn't like you either.
We'd be even if he had anything to start with. Don't ever marry, Patsy.
Now, look, lady, I'm nursing a murder rap, and I need some answers. Was Stan a phony?
He's the same guy I married, if that's what you mean.
You weren't sure 4 hours ago.
I wanted an answer then.
What kind?
You're too far ahead, Patsy. Come to a trot and have a drink.
Lady, has anybody ever told you about a slow burn? I got one now.
I'll bet you have, darling.
Oh, this room isn't big enough for games, baby.
Come here, Patsy.
Go find a guy with a bag of wild oats.
Stop shadow boxing, Patsy.
All right, baby.
Patsy.
That's what makes the poor so happy. They don't have phones. Yeah.
Patsy, this is Jocko.
What'd you find out?
Crockett Odom is in love with Wendy Morris.
Does it go both ways?
Well, different rate of exchange. I got something else, too.
Yeah?
Her will is a big temptation.
Go ahead.
If she bows out, all the dough goes to her husband. Maybe the guy is a fraud.
Oh, he's going to have it straightened out. What else?
The funny part of the will.
Uh-huh.
If they're both dead, all the dough goes to Crockett Odom. You better see him in a hurry.
Well, that doesn't make sense. If he killed her and got all that dough, it'd cost him that much to get another like her.
Maybe not.
Uh-huh. You haven't seen her, Jocko. He wouldn't pass that up. She's nice and speedy.
Oh, I can explain that. When you're over 50, you don't mind the speed. It's the freewheeling you hate to think about.
When Jocko hung up, I knew we had a good pair of seats. That story of Stan's finally made sense. There was only one reason why he could have been called there at 10:30, and for the first time, I tumbled why Craig had let me go back in that hotel room. Everything was right in place, like a mix master in a bride's kitchen. I dropped by headquarters and left a note, and then the girl and I ran into Craig down at the desk. I briefed him on what had happened, and we rode up to Crockett Odom's apartment. When we got to the living room, things turned stormy.
Hello, Novak. It's too late to start a party.
You're going to like this one, Odom.
That's right, darling. You'll love it. This is Craig from Homicide.
He wants you for murder.
It doesn't sound right, Craig.
Novak's calling it. See him.
I talked to Stan before he died. He tipped your mitt, Crockett.
He couldn't tip a water glass.
He was smart enough to know you sent for him. That's why he didn't show at 10:30.
You better have it in writing.
No, I don't need it that way. I got Craig. He won't let you out that easy.
What's he talking about, Craig?
Homicide will shake him down too fast. You're with the walking dead now, Craig. I left a note. They know you killed the girl.
Are you crazy, Craig, to come up here?
I can't argue now. He's too lucky, Odom.
I got all sevens tonight, Craig. Crockett Odom sold you bad goods. He did everything wrong.
Thanks, Odom. I'm going to leave you, but don't let the bag get too heavy.
Now, wait a minute, Craig. You're not going to let me hang for this.
You won't. They burn in this state.
Stay away from that door, Craig.
Sorry, Odom. You dealt me in, but I got bad cards. I want to see you play them alone.
Can you get by this gun?
I'll make a try. Hang on to your skin.
Give me a hand, Novak.
Yeah, anything to help you die. Here.
How's Odom?
He'll keep.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Novak. What'd I do wrong?
Everything. But mostly when you let me go up in that hotel room.
Yeah. I should have pinched you then. I'm a tender-hearted guy.
You're a bum, Craig. I can move you down a step lower even. You're a liar. I checked. You're not working for the city. They never heard of you downtown.
I'm not going to make it, Novak. Lay my head down.
Yeah. I'll put it down easy. Goodbye, Craig. I hope you have a long night. Craig made the morning he had to cheat. They patched up Odom and got most of the story out of him. Jocko was right. Odom got tired of chasing the girl and went after the money instead. He drummed up that phony story to plant a reason for a quarrel, and then he tried to pay it off in that hotel room. He offered a cut to Craig for the heavy-duty work. Wendy was supposed to show up at 10:15. Craig would kill her and wait. When Stan showed up at 10:30, Craig was supposed to stage a fight and kill him. That way, he'd be in the clear, and so would Odom. They'd say it was a husband and wife quarrel, and Craig had a phony shield to back him up. Craig dreamed up that story about being a cop. But the whole scheme went haywire when the desk clerk mixed up the rooms. Craig killed the wrong woman, and Stan got there late. That's why he got scared when it turned out to be somebody else, so he let me go. Odom was afraid that Stan had showed up and knew the story, so he had a ticket right away. The guy who tailed me was handy for that. When did I first tumble to something wrong? When I was sure that Crockett Odom had told a lie. He said the girl was a dipso, but when I got there, she was drinking soda with her whiskey. And a good dipso won't waste that much time. Well, it worked out all right. Hellman was on his honeymoon, so he didn't have any questions. I'll bet his wife did.
Broadcasting Company for listeners in the United States and rebroadcast for our men and women overseas. This is the United States Armed Forces Radio Service, the voice of information and education.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to a robbery detail. A doctor is severely beaten, robbed, and left in critical condition. Suspicion points to a narcotics addict. Your job? Get him. You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes.
You'll find they now cost the same. But in Fatima, the difference is quality.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
So compare Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, But your first pup will tell you,
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all, long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, August 7th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 1:15 p.m. when I got to 4656 Collis Avenue. The front door.
Is that you, Joseph?
Yeah, Ma, it's me.
I didn't expect you so soon.
Well, I'm off for lunch, and Ben and I were in the neighborhood, so...
Oh, well, I'll get the telegram.
Thank you.
I must say, I'm glad you could get home. Telegrams always make me nervous. Nobody ever sends a telegram unless it's important here, so...
Thank you. Yes, they do, Ma. Some people send wires to invite you to lunch or to a reception or something like that.
Is that so?
Sure. You've just forgotten, haven't you? I've gotten them before like that.
Oh, it's no way to do, anyhow.
Why not?
People always associate frightening things with telegrams. Well, aren't you going to open it?
Oh, yeah, sure. No, if you were worried, you could open it, Ma. It'd been all right.
Well, you know I never open anything addressed to you, Joseph. Anything important?
It's from Belmont, my old high school.
Oh, yeah.
They want me to come up next week. They're having some sort of assembly up there. Want me to talk to the student body.
Well, that's nice. You going to go?
Yeah, I think I better, don't you? I'll have to clear it through Captain Sheldon, though.
I think it's awfully nice for them to remember you. What are you going to talk on, say?
Yeah, police work, it says here. I'll have to think of something to base it on, though, won't I?
Well, you'll have to memorize it, Joseph. Doesn't look well for a man to stand up on a platform and read a prepared talk.
Yeah, I know. Oh, that's Ben. I gotta go, Ma.
Would you and Ben like some lunch? I can fix you something in about a minute.
No, we haven't got time, dear. I'll see you later.
I don't know why they couldn't have written a letter instead.
What's that, Ma?
I said they could have written you a letter. Besides, it's much cheaper than a telegram.
Yeah, Ma. I'll see you later.
Bye, Joseph.
Bye.
Just got a call, Joe. They want us to call the office.
Oh, well, I might as well do it from the house, huh?
Yeah.
All right, I'll be right back.
Right.
It's just me again, Ma. Came back to use the phone.
You're all right, Joseph.
Hello?
2511, please.
2511?
This is Friday, Glenn.
Got one for you, Joe.
What? I can't hear you, Glenn.
Got one for you.
Wait a minute, I can't hear you. Hey, Ma, would you hold that vacuum for a minute, please? I can't hear.
Oh, all right, Joseph.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Glenn. What'd you say again?
That's right. That young kid hit again, doctor's office.
Yeah?
It's that same kid, only this time he got a little rough. Victim's at Georgia Street. He's still carrying that gun.
Did he use the gun?
To beat the man with. Victim's a 55-year-old doctor. No reason for it, Joe.
All right, we'll get right on it.
Right, bye.
Yeah, bye. Okay, Ma, I'm all through.
All right, son.
Anything?
Yeah. That young hype hit again. Doctor's office beat him up pretty bad. He's down at Georgia.
Great combination, isn't it, Joe?
What's that?
Arm full of narcotics and a loaded gun.
Monday, August 7th. Since June 27th, Ben and I had been assigned to a case involving a young narcotics thief. For 7 weeks now, he'd been robbing every possible source available to him of narcotics. Since the inception of the investigation, we'd seen this young criminal develop from a small-time sneak thief to a full-fledged armed and vicious thug, The descriptions of the young thief taken from his various victims tallied almost to the letter. Blonde, light complexion, small stature, 5'7" to 5'10", nervous and unusually juvenile in appearance. Everything possible was being done for his quick apprehension. Hundreds of mug shots were screened and shown to victims. No identification. 3:30 p.m. We checked back in at the office. Went to see Sergeant Ed Hall, Narcotics Division.
Chandler said you went over to Georgia Street to see that doctor.
Yeah, that's right, Ed. Short visit. Poor guy.
Pretty bad, huh?
No, the guy's really a mess. Kid must have worked overtime on him.
And what's his condition?
Still critical when we left. They wouldn't let us stay long. We got a description. It's the same kid.
The doctor's name was Gannon, huh? 55 years old.
Yeah. Pistol whipped him. Knocked out 7 of his teeth, fractured his jaw. Doctor was wearing glasses. They don't know if he'll see out of his right eye anymore.
Well, this puts Junior in the big leagues now.
Yeah, it sure does. We got out a supplementary all points on him. Here's a list of the junk that he got. It's quite a haul here.
Yeah. Morphine, quarter grain, 30 vials. 5 vials, half grain codeine. Dolphine, quarter grain, 6 vials. Yeah, you did all right. Long list here.
We got that from the nurse. She was out to lunch when it happened. It's a small office out there, and the doctor closes up at noon. Nurse goes out to lunch, and he eats in the office. That's when the kid got to him.
He knew when to hit, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, our boys haven't been able to turn up a thing for you. Nobody seems to know the kid.
Well, the amount of stuff he hauled out of that doctor's office, something ought to show, shouldn't it?
Should, yeah, with a haul like that. You got anything at all to work on?
Yeah, that car that was used on the job. Still got it staked out.
Well, we just picked this up from the report counter.
Yeah.
Car was reported stolen 2 hours after the robbery. It's a little bit of a break, huh?
The report was taken out at the Wilshire station. Mrs. Irving Adams states that her husband had notified her that the car was stolen from him while he was at work today. Said he always parks it out in front on the street.
We haven't checked it out yet, but we figured it was a good place to start, maybe.
Wait a minute. What'd you say that name was?
Irving Adams.
Let me see that report. Well, this Adams is a user. He's up in county now, waiting trial.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, Walker and I picked him up. I just talked to Adams up in the county jail this morning.
How long has he been in?
Let's see. It was last Tuesday, July 30th.
The car couldn't have been stolen from Adams today if he's been in jail for a week.
Well, there's one guy can figure it out for you. Adams.
4:05 p.m. We went up to the 10th floor of the county jail, the interview room. We talked to Irving Adams for an hour. He said he wanted to cooperate, but he couldn't explain his wife's action in reporting the car stolen from him. He kept repeating that he knew his wife was not involved in anything, that she was innocent of any complicity in the case of the youthful gunman. He could give us no information on anyone fitting the gunman's description. He insisted that the entire matter was a mistake and that his wife could clear everything up if we just talked to her. 5:20 p.m. Ben and I drove out to 239 West 92nd Street, the Adams residence. It was a small white bungalow trimmed in red. The front lawn needed cutting and care. There were 4 bottles of soured milk on the front porch, along with several old newspapers. The front blinds were down, and although it was still early, the front porch light was burning. The other homes in the neighborhood appeared to be neat and well kept. The screen door was ajar and supported by one rusty hinge. 5:21 p.m.
Looks like nobody's home.
Well, let's give it a try, huh?
Give me a minute, I'll cover the back.
Right.
Yes?
Police officer, my name's Friday. You're Mrs. Irving Adams?
Yes, that's right.
Well, I'd like to talk to you about your stolen car.
Have you found it?
Yes, we have. Can I come in?
The place is in such a mess. Can't we talk here?
Well, if you don't mind, I'd rather come inside.
All right. Don't look at the house. I've been kind of sick. Haven't felt much like cleaning up.
All right. You alone here, are you?
Right now, my husband's at work.
Mm-hmm. Mind if I go through the house?
You mean search it? You got a warrant?
Well, I just want to go to the back door.
What for?
Well, my partner's around back there. This the way to the back door here?
That's right.
This it?
It's locked. Keys in the door.
All right. Hey, Ben?
Yeah, everything all right?
Yeah, fine.
Is he a police officer, too?
Yeah, that's right. Is this all there is to the house here?
What do you mean?
Well, just these 3 rooms here.
Yes, that's all.
Well, I thought you said you were alone here.
I am.
Well, who's that woman lying down in the other room?
That's Catherine. I didn't want you bothering her. She's been sick, too. She sleeps most of the time. I just forgot about her.
Anybody else around?
No, nobody.
No, I mean anybody sick or otherwise. Anyone besides you and this girl in there?
Well, you've been in every room in the house except the bathroom.
This it here?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't understand all this. I reported my car stolen, and you come out here and search my house. If I did steal my car, I wouldn't hide it in here.
Yeah. Ben, want to come in?
Yeah.
Could you tell me something?
Yeah.
Why are you here?
Well, I told you we found your car. This is Sergeant Romero.
How do you do?
What's the trouble? Anything wrong?
Who'd you say your car was stolen from?
From me. It was my car.
Is that the way you made the report, Mrs. Adams? It was stolen from you?
I think so, yes.
Ms. Adams, according to the report that you made out this morning, you stated that the car was stolen from your husband. Isn't that right?
Is that what I said?
Yes, ma'am, that's right.
I don't remember. We both used the car so much. I forgot.
Well, now, which is it, you or your husband?
I'm not sure.
You been drinking, have you?
A little bit, just to ease my nerves. I haven't been feeling well.
Well, it's obvious you're not drunk, Mrs. Adams. Why don't you keep your story straight?
Well, officers, I am telling the truth.
Well, your husband's in the county jail. He's been there for a week. The car couldn't have been stolen from him. Now, could it?
I didn't say it was stolen from him.
Is this your signature, Mrs. Adams?
Yes, sir.
This is a copy of the auto theft report that you made at the Wilshire Division.
Yes.
Well, now, is this report a true one or a false one? There's a penalty for making a false report, Ms. Adams. I'm sure you're aware of that.
I only want my car back.
Who was it stolen from?
Whatever it says there, my husband.
Now, we just told you that he's in jail. He's still in there. We just talked to him. The car couldn't have been stolen from him. Have you got anything to say to that?
No.
Well, I think we better go downtown where you can sit and straighten yourself out and give us some right answers.
I don't want to go to jail.
Well, that's just where you're going if you don't snap out of it and come up with the truth.
I know who you want. It's Rex Burley, isn't it?
Who's Rex Burley?
A young kid, blonde, small. He told me he was in some kind of trouble with the car. Said if I tell the police it was stolen, it'd be all right that way.
Do you know where he is now?
No, I don't.
You sure about that?
That's the truth.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Catherine's awful sick.
She always sleep this heavy?
Only when she's sick.
She's really out, isn't she?
Yeah.
Look at her leg.
Yeah. She's a user.
Say, this girl's on narcotics, Ms. Adams. Are you a user?
No, I'm not. I don't know where Catherine gets it.
How about Rex Burley?
He's on it, too. Maybe she gets it from him.
Is there any stuff in the house now?
Not that I know of.
You want to tell us where Rex Burley is?
I don't know. He called here about an hour ago. Catherine talked to him.
Did he tell her where he was?
Yes, he did. She wrote it down on a piece of paper.
Where's that paper?
Under her pillow.
You are listening to Dragnet. From beginning to end, Dragnet is the authentic story of your police force in action.
Now, from beginning to end, the Fatima story. Actual convincing proof that in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Quality of tobaccos. The finest domestic and Turkish varieties, extra mild and superbly blended to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, round, perfect cigarettes. Rolled in the finest paper money can buy. Manufactured in the newest and most modern of all cigarette factories.
Quality, even to the appearance of the bright, clean, golden yellow package. Carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, More long cigarette smokers are now insisting on Fatima than ever before.
So if you smoke a long cigarette, compare Fatima. You'll find they now cost the same. But your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Insist on Fatima. Start enjoying the quality king-size cigarette. Fatima. Best of all long cigarettes.
Monday, August 7th, 6:30 p.m. The young girl who was identified as Catherine Dorrance was awakened, and she produced Rex Burley's address. She stated that she'd known him for the past year. She had just graduated from high school and gave her age as 18. In talking further with both Iris Adams and Catherine Dorrance, we found that the description of Rex Burley checked out with that given us from the suspect's victims. They both stated that, as far as they knew, it was his true name, that he had no friends or associates known to them. A check with R&I showed no record on the name Rex Burley. At 6:37 p.m., Sergeants Hall and Walker from Narcotics Division arrived and continued the investigation of the two female suspects. A stakeout was placed on the house at 239 West 92nd Street. The address we got from Catherine Dorrance was a hotel on Washington Boulevard. We drove out and checked with the clerk. We asked if he had anyone registered under the name of Rex Burley, and he told us no. We gave him Burley's description, and he said that a young man similar to that had registered and was in room 210. We got a pass key from the clerk. We walked up to the second floor.
This is it.
Lights on under the door.
Yeah. Careful, huh?
Yeah.
Who is it?
Open up. We want to talk to you.
What about?
Is the key in the door?
Yeah, pass key's no good.
All right, come on. Open up. Police officers.
Isn't gonna open.
All right. Let's hit it. Right again. Once more. Yep.
Window's open. Up the fire escape, Joe. Police officers, hold it up.
Watch it. You all right? Yeah. All right, come on. Let's go. All right, hold it up there. He doesn't want to stop.
He's over the side, under the roof.
All right, come on. All right, easy.
See him?
No, it's pretty dark. All right, come on. Easy now. All right, easy.
Over there on that side. Can you see him?
No, it's too dark.
Watch that skyline. He's over there in that corner. See him?
Yeah, now he's gone.
Must have ducked back down. Well, he's in that corner.
All right, let's take him. Now keep down. You circle around from that side. I'll go around this way.
Right.
Be careful. Keep down. All right, throw that gun out and get your hands in the air. Walk toward the middle of the roof.
All right, here's the gun. I see him, Joe. I got him covered. You all right?
Yeah.
All right, keep those hands up.
All right, stand still.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
All right, get your hands behind you. Ben.
Let's go, Burley.
I didn't mean to do it. I was wrong. I know I was wrong.
Should have thought about that a long time ago.
How old are you, Burley?
20.
You're living pretty high, aren't you?
I had to have this stuff. I needed it. How else could I get it? I didn't have the money to buy it.
You didn't have to get started on it. Come on, let's go.
I didn't want to get started. All of a sudden, I was just on it. I couldn't do anything about it. You don't understand. There was just somebody else to explain it to.
There is, but they won't understand it either. Monday, August 7th, 8:40 p.m. Rex Burley was taken downtown to the robbery division for further interrogation. He told us that he was in his senior year in high school when he got started on narcotics. He kept repeating that he didn't mean to get started. He readily admitted his participation in 6 narcotics robberies. He told us that he got Catherine Dorrance, his 18-year-old girlfriend, started on dope. Gene Bechtel took his statement and a complete report was made. A partial recovery of the stolen narcotics was made from his hotel room. The remainder had been found at Irving Adams' residence on 92nd Street. Both female suspects, Iris Adams and Catherine Dorrance, were filed on for violation of the State Narcotics Act. A show-up was scheduled for August 8th to allow a positive identification from Rex Burley's victims. We received word from Georgia Street that Dr. Gannon's condition was improved. The suspect was transported to the main jail where he was booked. It was 10:38 p.m. when I got to 1456 Collis Avenue, the front door. Yeah, Ma.
Oh, have you had your dinner?
No, I'm not hungry.
We'll have to eat. I'll fix you something.
Oh, I'm kind of tired. I just like to sit down for a minute.
All right. Well, there's the evening paper.
Oh, thank you.
Well, what'd you do to the sleeve of your coat?
Oh, where? Oh, guess I must have ripped it, huh?
Mm-hmm. You slip it off, I'll mend it after I fix you some dinner.
Well, why don't you sit down and work on it now if you want to? I've got something I'd kind of like to go over with you.
All right.
You remember that telegram from Belmont this morning?
Yeah, your old high school.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I got an idea for a speech, maybe. Just made a few notes here. Mm-hmm. Wrote down some of it. You think you feel like listening to it? See if it's okay?
All right. Did you write the speech today?
Well, just parts of it. I hadn't written it clear out yet. I just got a few notes. I want to see what you thought of it.
All right. Well, let me have your coat, son.
Yeah. There you go. Thank you.
Now, let's hear you talk.
Well, remember, it's not written down yet. It's just kind of hit and miss as I go along. But I think I can get the thought across, and then I'll put it all down on paper.
All right.
Mr. Fisher, that's the principal up there. You know.
Yes.
Mr. Fisher, members of the faculty and students. I'd like to tell you about a young boy who started out in high school and ended up on the roof of a downtown hotel dodging police bullets. I'd like to tell you about his girlfriend, 18 years old and a dope addict. This young fella started out on narcotics in search of a new thrill, something new that he hadn't experienced in his young life. He was still in high school when a group of the more high-living youngsters used to congregate at the local malt shop. Well, that's not so good, is it?
No.
Well, maybe it sounds better this way. There was a malt shop on the corner where some of the youngsters used to get together after school. Kind of a place where, if you had the right connections, and our young boy and girl did, you could get a drink of liquor in the back room. Well, the high school faculty knows all about this local malt shop, and they inform the authorities, and pressure is brought to bear. But the man who operates the place is clever, if you can call the operations of a man like this clever. He knows how to cover up, how to keep the front room legitimate and the back room a spawning place for juvenile delinquency. And the students don't help much. There seems to be something during the formation of a juvenile mind that when his teachers or his parents catch him doing wrong or they try to tell him it's bad, he prides himself in seeing how long he can get away with it undercover. Seems to be the stylish thing to do to outwit your parents and teachers. As the youngsters grow older, they invariably find out how infantile and stupid this is, but sometimes it's too late. Does that sound kind of stuffy, Ma? What do you think?
Sounds like the truth. Let me hear the rest of it.
Well, you know how kids are. Sometimes they resent it if they think you're lecturing them. Maybe if they could have been with Ben and I tonight, it might make a difference. Well, I don't want to make this too long, Ma. I think maybe I ought to finish up something like this. From this malt shop on the corner in that back room, our young boy gets a good shove down the road of self-degradation. He has the right connections, and it isn't too long before he graduates the liquor in the back room for something he thinks it's far better, narcotics. He's heard that, unlike liquor, you can't smell it on his breath, and he's a real veteran now. He has hangovers. He's heard that narcotics doesn't leave you with a hangover. So it doesn't take too long before, in police parlance, he's hooked. Living in this day and age, he thought that they taught him well in his economics and civics classes. He thought he knew what post-war inflation was all about. He didn't have the vaguest notion of the cost of his daily supply of narcotics once he was hooked on it. He found that before long he had to have his daily dosage. In no time at all, he found that it was all he could do to get by on $30 a day. That's what it cost, Ma. $30 each and every day, or he became violently ill, so sick that he couldn't seem to function properly. Well, in order to maintain his daily needs, he got a gun, and he robbed, and he beat people, and he stole. He shared with his girlfriend, and he dragged her down with him. He ended up on the roof of a hotel trying to shoot his way out. Well, the boy was 20 years old. His girlfriend was 18. 2 years ago, they both sat out there in a high school auditorium during an assembly. He went a long way, didn't he, in his 2 years out of high school? He was taken into custody on the night of August 7th. He was crying when we put the handcuffs on him. He was crying when we left him in his cell at the county jail. I guess he's still crying. Now, what do you think, Ma? That's just rough. I haven't...
Oh, will they believe it? You think it'll do any good?
Well, I don't know, Ma. It's up to them.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On November 9th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 83, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Friends, there are many cases on record of two people, not related, looking so much alike it's hard to tell them apart. A quick check of fingerprints, however, easily proves who's who. Now, at first sight, you could just as easily be fooled by king-size cigarettes. If you were to place a Fatima and any other king-size cigarette side by side, you'd find they look identical. But believe me, there's a real difference. In Fatima, that difference is quality. Quality that gives you extra mildness, a much better flavor and aroma. Compare Fatima with any king-size cigarette. The size is the same, now the price is the same. But in Fatima, the difference is quality. Buy a pack tomorrow.
Rex Martin Burley was found guilty of 3 counts of robbery in the first degree and was sentenced to the state penitentiary where he is now serving his term. First-degree robbery is punishable by imprisonment from 5 years to life.
The Federal Civil Defense Administration will send you an air raid instruction sheet if you will write the Superintendent of Documents, Washington, D.C., enclosing 5 cents in coin or stamps.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
Stay tuned for Counter Spy, next over many NBC stations.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to auto theft detail. A well-organized ring of car thieves begins operations in your city. It's one of the most puzzling cases you've ever encountered. Your job? Break it. You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes.
You'll find they now cost the same. But in Fatima, the difference is quality.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
So compare Fatima yourself. Fatima's now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, May 11th. It was fair in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of auto theft detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Stilson. My name's Friday. It was 8:35 a.m. when I got to room 40, Auto Theft Division. Captain's office.
Morning, Friday.
Morning.
Hi, Joe.
Ben?
Want to sit down?
Thank you.
I was just telling Romero here, I'm briefing all the men in the Bureau on this thing. That's the reason I called you two in.
Yeah?
I got some figures here I want to go over with you.
All right.
As you know, the percentage of all auto theft recoveries is 96 to 98% on the average. That's normally.
Yeah?
In checking the monthly averages the past 4 months, that percentage has dropped to the low 80s.
Quite a drop.
Corner Pocket thinks so, too. They want some action on it.
Well, we've been working on it.
Absolutely no pattern to the thefts. Time, location, the method. Makes it impossible to stake out on it. Yeah, those are some of the reasons our percentage is taking such a dive. I know the problems. We all do, but we got to break this thing soon.
Well, it figures we're dealing with a well-organized bunch. They know what they're doing.
In cross-checking all the reports, it seems to boil down to this in general. It appears that all the outstanding thefts are GM cars. Cads, Pontiacs, Chevys, Oldsmobiles. All late models, all seem to be in good condition, low-mileage cars.
Well, in addition to the regular broadcast and teletypes, we got out a special bulletin on this, didn't we?
That's right. All the thefts were listed, license, make, model, and color. Been sent to all major cities and border patrol stations. Nothing so far.
I was checking through the salvage reports. Salvage buys. Do you have the last 2 months' escape for March and April?
Yeah, right here. I noticed the same thing. That outfit down on San Pedro Street.
Yeah. Let me see. Oh, yeah. This is a composite on the reports for the past 2 months?
That's right.
This one here. Herman Salvage, 2716 West San Pedro. They seem to deal a little heavy on General Motors cars, don't they?
Yeah, they do. I've been watching the buys on this place for the past few weeks now. I wanted to make sure it wasn't coincidence.
Well, looks like a good place to run down anyway.
You two want to check it out?
All right, fine. 2716 West San Pedro.
That's it. Outfit appears to be okay. Never been out of line.
Seems funny they should deal with the top avian GM cars, doesn't it?
Right when our recovery percentage takes a dive, yeah.
Do you have the last salvage report there, Captain?
Yeah.
The last one?
Here you are.
Thank you. Yeah. Here's one for Herman's, 1949 Cadillac. And a little further down, Herman's again, 47 Olds. Yeah. There's 5 GM buys on the list. Herman got 4 out of 5 of them.
Let's find out why.
From the time an automobile is first manufactured and sold, a constant and complete record is maintained on that automobile. His certificate of ownership, the pink slip in the state of California. His certificate of registration, the white slip. These 2 slips of paper contain the information necessary for the positive identification of your car. A fact that every motorist knows. Now, there are many agencies that work for the protection and security of your automobile. One of these is the National Auto Theft Bureau, a kind of nationwide clearinghouse. Acting upon information supplied by the various insurance companies and other allied agencies, this bureau forwards all facts and figures concerning the disposition of motor vehicles on a nationwide basis. Reports are made available to all law enforcement agencies. One of the pieces of information put out by the National Auto Theft Bureau is the salvage report, listing all sales and purchases of automobiles that, for one reason or another, may have been relegated to the junkyard or to the salvage company, a fact that many motorists may not know. 9:14 a.m., Ben and I checked through the police commission and found that the owner of Herman Salvage was a Herman Lester. He had been in business at the same location for 6 years and appeared to be a reputable businessman. We drove down to 2716 West San Pedro to check it out. It was an average-looking garage with a connecting salvage yard filled with several hundred smashed-up cars of all makes and models. It was 9:32 a.m. when we walked into the garage.
There's a fellow there in a white shirt.
Yeah, I see him.
Can I help you, gentlemen? Yes, sir. Police officers. Auto theft detail?
Oh, yes. I don't believe I know you fellas. My name's Lester.
This is Sergeant Friday. My name's Romero.
How you do?
How are you? Are you the owner here?
Yeah, that's right. Hey, whatever happened to Mac and Donovan? Used to drop in once, twice a month. I haven't seen them for 2-3 weeks now.
Well, they're a little busy on a special assignment.
Oh, I see.
All right, if we look around here?
Oh, you bet. Make yourselves right at home. Anything special?
No, just looking.
Okay.
Notice you've been pretty busy, huh?
Yeah, had a pretty good month. Salvage racket's going to get sour again, looks like, with the Korean War and all the cutbacks.
Doesn't seem to have hit you so far.
Well, no, not so far. Looks like it may tighten up any time.
I noticed from our salvage report you've been doing a big business in GM merchandise.
Yeah, we have. You know, they're starting to build tanks back there now. We wanted to make sure we wouldn't run short on parts.
You get a lot of call for GM parts, do you?
Oh, yeah, we sure do. Everybody in town knows if they need something for a Caddy or a Buick or any of those cars, this is the place to come. We kind of built up a reputation specializing in GM used parts.
I see.
Mind if we check your last few buys?
Fine.
You have 49 Cadillac, 47 Olds, Pontiac 48, 1949 Chevrolet. Wonder if we might see those.
Yes, sir. Right out in the yard. Back this way. All 4 of them are really bent up. Bad shape. Just breaks your heart to see beautiful merchandise like that all smashed up. I don't know what people are thinking of the way they drive.
Yeah.
And you take a new Caddy, one of those new convertibles, really beautiful merchandise. Somebody takes one out, rolls it, we pick it up and tow it down here. Beautiful car like that all rolled up in a ball.
Georgia Street Receiving Hospital probably picked up the rear.
Yeah, it was really a shame. Well, here we go. There's a Caddy.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. The Olds and the Pontiac are in that row there. You see them?
Yeah.
And that Chevrolet, wasn't it?
Yes, sir. 1949?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There she is over there. Third car down. Maroon. See it?
Maroon one, yeah. Down there.
Yeah. Looks like a graveyard, doesn't it?
Sure does. What do you do with all these cars? Strip them down for parts?
Well, at least the 4 you're checking now, yeah. They're all total wrecks. Nothing much can be done with them except for parts.
Mm-hmm. How about that Cadillac down there, the sedan?
Huh?
That one over there, can't you fix that one up? That doesn't look beyond repair from here.
Oh, step around the other side here. You can't see from where you're standing. Here. Yeah, the right side's all stove in. By the time you figure replacing those side panels and fenders, trim, we couldn't come out on it.
Yeah, I see now. Well, I don't know too much about it, but it looked good from over there.
Yeah, that's what we get all the time. People want us to pay top prices for stuff we can't get our money out of. If we could repair them, fix them up, and resell them as a complete automobile, there'd be a lot of money in this business.
You do that with some of them, don't you?
Oh, very few of them, I'll tell you. That's what we look for, but we don't always get lucky.
Mm-hmm, I see.
Say, how'd you boys like to see some really beautiful merchandise?
What's that?
Well, come on back in the shop.
All right.
Kind of a hobby of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what keeps us busy. Plates and pink slips on their way up to Sacramento for cancellation.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, over this way. Here we are. Take a look at this baby.
Yeah. Hot rod, huh?
No, not exactly. We don't go in for that kid stuff racing around town.
Well, sure, looks like one.
Yeah, but it's a little better than most of the kids can throw together.
What'll it do?
We clocked her up at Muroc at 112 last weekend. You know, they've been coming in here from all over town to see this car?
That's so.
Yeah. You ever get up to Muroc Dry Lake?
No, I never do, but that's the place for it. Running around town on those things can cause a lot of accidents.
Those drag races the kids have? Yeah. We don't go in for that stuff. This is strictly scientific as far as I'm concerned. I like to build them up, see what we can make them do.
Cost a lot of money, don't they?
Got $5,400 in this one right now. I'm putting more into it. Mallory ignition, milled heads, twin Wakefields. Here, let me start it up for you.
Okay.
120 horses under there.
Yeah, sounds good.
Listen to that. Beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of power here. Go in. You ought to see it up to the
This all made up out of salvage cars?
Every bit of it. Have to buy a few things new, but most of it's right out of wrecks like those outside there.
Takes a lot of talent to build up something like this from scrap, doesn't it?
No, not really. After you've been at it as long as I have, it's not too tough. The trick is to get more speed out of them than anyone else can.
Yeah, you did a good job on this car, right?
Oh, if you put your mind to it, you can do a lot with a wrecked car.
Before we left Herman's salvage, we checked all 4 of the GM cars that were listed on the salvage report. We made a careful check on all of the cars in the yard and in the garage, paying special attention to the few cars that were in the process of being rebuilt by Herman Lester's mechanics. We went over his records, carefully checking the disposition of all of his buys for the past several months. Everything was in perfect order. We found that in the past 3 weeks, Lester had taken in 10 cars. 8 of them had been stripped down for parts, and 2 of them had been rebuilt and resold. The investigation showed that 4 of those cars were GM cars, and the 2 that were resold were both General Motors. 11:28 a.m. Ben and I drove back to the office and asked Mac and Donovan if they'd check through the 2 resale cars to make sure everything was in order, as the reports indicated. We checked through on the remaining 8 cars that were listed by Herman Lester as broken down for parts. According to DMV, all plates and pink slips had been returned to them for cancellation. 11:50 a.m.
Well, that's it, Joe.
Yeah?
8 of the cars check out. 2 of those were GM.
Yeah, well, that leaves just the 2 that Mac and Donovan are checking, huh?
I don't know. Everything down there looked all right. It's a cinch Lester wasn't holding back anything, as far as I could tell. It's cooperative. Everything in order.
If those 2 that Mac and Donovan are working on check out.
I got a hunch they will. Seems to me Lester told us everything. Everything we asked him, anyway. I don't think he held back.
If he did, I got an idea we might be able to tell us somebody's been left out in the cold here.
What are you getting at?
Well, now, if Herman's been able to buy up all those GM cars, what have the other salvage dealers been doing about it?
That's a thought.
Let's check his competition. 12:40 p.m. We drove back down to West San Pedro Street. We picked out a group of salvage companies in the immediate neighborhood close to Herman's. 3209 West San Pedro, John's Wrecking Yard. We introduced ourselves and started to talk with the owner, a John Bacon. A routine check was made of his establishment, and as far as we could tell, everything appeared to be okay.
And that's all you made, huh? Just that one buy?
That's it. 1946 Ford. We're dying a slow death.
Business pretty bad, huh?
Never seen it worse. At least as far as we're concerned.
How do you account for that, Mr. Bacon?
Oh, everything, I guess. Business bad all over at the moment. Scrap metal situation's in a state of flux at the present time.
In looking around, Mr. Bacon, we noticed you don't have much in the way of General Motors stuff. Is that because of GM going into war production? Any cutback would eventually affect you fellas, wouldn't it?
No, not at all. Cutback would, sure, but there's no tremendous curtailment right at the present time. They're still turning out a lot of automobiles back then.
Well, then what's your problem?
We're being outbid. Right up and down the line by the same outfit.
Who's that, sir?
A company by the name of Herman Salvage, just up the street there. Go out to buy a piece of merchandise, their boys just won't let us get near it.
They pay more than you do, huh?
More than we can, Sergeant. I honestly don't see how they're coming out on some of their deals.
It's that much out of line, huh?
Certainly is. You know, whenever there's anything available, all the salvage companies get their bid in. Well, Herman simply outbids all of us.
Yeah, it makes it kind of rough.
I'm not the only one. Pete Larkin up the street, old man Henry next door, all of us. I don't know what we can do about it. Herman seems to be doing all right, no matter what he pays for his cars. None of us can figure it out. Just judging from the number of cars he outbids us on and the number he rebuilds, I just can't see how he's coming out.
But he is, huh?
Figure he's laying odds on a big shortage. That's what all of us think.
He's laying in a stockpile. Is that the idea?
Sure. What else could it be?
We continued our check on all salvage dealers, both in the neighborhood of Herman Lester's place and throughout the city. It seemed to be a fact well known to most dealers that Herman was outbidding all of them on any and all GM automobiles. The only possible explanation was that he must be trying to lay in a large stockpile of this particular make of car. 3:35 p.m. We received word from Sergeants Mack and Donovan that they had checked out the 2 remaining cars listed in Herman's books, the resales. Ben was right. They checked out with no discrepancy. During the next 10 days, the investigation continued. The theft of late-model GM cars continued with few recoveries. Suspects were arrested and questioned. We could find no connection that might lead us to an organized ring of car thieves that might be responsible for the lack of GM car recoveries. The salvage report showed no change in Herman's buying technique. Apparently, he was still dealing heavy on the one particular make of car. Thursday, May 25th. We received a teletype from DMV listing all the salvage by transfers. In making our usual daily check of this teletype, we noticed a 1949 Cadillac, engine number 598-77415. It had been resold from salvage to a used car lot.
That's the place right up the block.
Yeah, I see.
Same cad we saw in Herman's salvage yard.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? The one in particular that I asked him about, you remember?
Yeah, I remember. You thought it could be fixed up. He said no.
It's only been a little over 2 weeks ago, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, still doesn't prove anything.
Here we are. Jake's. This is the place.
Yeah, there's a cad in the front line right down there, huh?
Mm-hmm. I don't see anyone around, do you?
No, I don't. Well, I guess it's all right to check the engine number anyway.
Yeah, I'll get the hood released.
Right. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, the engine's had a good steam cleaning. Let's see. 598-77415.
That's it. Herman sure did a nice job on it, didn't he?
Yeah. Almost looks too good, doesn't it?
Yeah, just a minute.
Yeah.
Body serial doesn't match. Doesn't correspond with the engine model.
It's a 49 body. Could be a late 49, but it's a definite switch, isn't it?
It sure is. That's funny.
Yeah. Look at this right side here. This was the bad side, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Does it look like it's been rolled out to you?
No, there's no feathering, no orange peel. Either that's the best repaint job I've ever seen or it's never been in an accident.
Yeah. I'll take a look underneath.
Yeah, all right.
Okay. Want to move your feet there?
Yeah, all right. Anything?
No, nothing. There's not a seam or a joint under there. No welding marks of any kind. This car's never been in a smash-up.
The engine number checks, the body doesn't.
And this is the one Herman couldn't fix up.
That's what he said. Maybe he changed his mind.
Or he lied.
You are listening to Dragnet. From beginning to end, Dragnet is the authentic story of your police force in action.
Now, from beginning to end, the Fatima story. Actual convincing proof that in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Quality of tobaccos. The finest domestic and Turkish varieties, extra mild and superbly blended to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, round, perfect cigarettes. Rolled in the finest paper money can buy. Manufactured in the newest and most modern of all cigarette factories.
Quality, even to the appearance of the bright, clean, golden yellow package. Carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, more long cigarette smokers are now insisting on Fatima than ever before.
So if you smoke a long cigarette, compare Fatima. You'll find they now cost the same. But your first puff will tell you,
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Insist on Fatima. Start enjoying the quality king-size cigarette. Fatima. Best of all long cigarettes.
1949 Cadillac, engine number 598-77415. In checking out this automobile, Ben and I had found that the engine number corresponded with the salvage report concerning Herman Lester's place. The one big item that did not jibe was the fact that the engine was now mounted in a different body than when the car left the factory. A fact that had to be accounted for in complete detail. When we had checked this automobile on the 11th of May at Herman's salvage yard, both engine and body numbers corresponded. In taking a close look at the car, it was obvious that the body had not been repaired in any way. It was clear that this particular car had not been in any kind of collision. We went back to the rear of the lot and asked one of the salesmen not to sell the car without informing us. When we got back to the office, we started rechecking all of the auto theft reports. We found 5 stolen Cadillacs, but all the body styles and models were different, with the exception of one, a 1949 Cadillac sedan, reported stolen on May 14th. It was registered in the name of William Brownell. We checked his home and found that he was at work. He was a superintendent for the North American van lines. We drove over and picked him up and took him to Jake Hughes' car lot on Vermont Avenue.
This is the car, Mr. Brownell.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's just like mine, but I don't think it's the one.
Are you sure?
For one thing, it's a different color. My car was maroon.
You want to step over here, Mr. Brownell?
Sure.
You know, if you'll look very closely here on the door edging and on the jamb, right here, see? This is the one place sometimes they miss with a spray gun if they're going to repaint.
Oh, yeah, there's a faint trace of red under the blue paint there.
Looks like it could be maroon, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does it there.
This car's been repainted. It was maroon.
Well, mine didn't have these kind of seat covers. Let's see. Same kind of upholstery I had, though, underneath there. I don't know.
Mr. Brownell, there must be something other than the color and the upholstery that you'd know your own car by.
Never gave it much thought.
Well, there's usually some little identifying mark of some kind. I know that on my car, the lens on the right headlight got broken, and I had to replace it with one that didn't match.
Something like that, sir?
Let's see. Could I look inside there a minute?
Sure.
Right here under the speedometer, there was a thumbprint pressed in at the factory. It's pretty deep. No, it's not there now.
And don't forget that the car's been repainted. It might have been covered up.
No, this was cleared down to the metal. Apparently, when they were installing the instruments at the factory, the panel wasn't dry yet. Not there now, and they couldn't have covered it up unless they made a special point of it.
Well, sometimes that's done. Car thieves are kind of clever.
I'm sorry, gentlemen. I don't think this is my car. Don't think I don't wish it was, but it's not.
Can you think of just one other thing, maybe? Just one mark of identification is all we need.
No. Even these tires aren't mine. I had white sidewalls.
Oh, could have been switched.
They were pretty new. Wait a minute. I think I remember something. No, there's no rip up there.
What's that, sir?
I just thought of something. The boys down at the office gave me a St. Christopher medal. You know, the large metal kind you're supposed to bolt to your dashboard?
Yes, sir.
I didn't want to put it on, so I carried it around with me in the car. There was a rip up there in the inner lining of the top, but you see there's no rip in this.
Let me see.
How about it, Ben?
Yeah, I can feel it.
Does it feel like a metal?
Let me get my pocket knife on it.
Okay.
What do you think? They replaced the cloth up there?
I don't know.
Yeah, here it is.
Is this it, Mr. Brownell?
That's it. Look, on the back there, my name's engraved on it, see?
Yes, sir.
Well, I sure didn't think this was my car. I never would have known it.
That's what the guys figured who stole it. The 1949 Cadillac was taken to the police garage and a complete and thorough check was made. The car, with the exception of the engine, was positively identified as the property of William Brownell. This definitely implicated Herman Lester and showed his salvage operations to be illegitimate. He had obviously been buying one particular make of salvage automobile, outbidding all his competitors to do so. When he would buy a piece of wrecked equipment, an exact duplicate would be stolen to match it. He would then dispose of the engine from the stolen vehicle and replace it with a salvage engine. With this system of operation, Herman Salvage had been enjoying a lucrative business, which accounted for a great percentage of the stolen cars that we hadn't been able to recover. 7:25 p.m., May 25th. We drove out to pick up Herman Lester. His home address was listed as 8625 Wonderland Drive. It was up in the Laurel Canyon district, a heavily wooded section of Los Angeles.
Pretty nice place up in there.
Yeah, but you can see of it through the trees. Well, let's go.
Look at that, Joe.
Yeah.
Looks like a 50 O's. Everything there but the engine. No plates.
I didn't notice that from the street, did you?
Never could have seen it from down there.
Looks like a garage back up in there, doesn't it?
Perfect spot. Can't see any of this from the street with all those trees. Pretty fancy layout for a home garage. Good size.
Yeah. Somebody's working up in there.
Yeah.
Come on.
Hi there. Bring you fellas way up here?
Want to have a little talk with you.
Oh, you bet. Come on in the house. Have a cold beer, huh?
No, this will be all right.
Joe, you got a hot sheet?
Yeah, right here.
Kind of caught me by surprise here, working out in the garage.
Yeah, that figures, Lester. These plates are from a stolen car.
You sure?
That's right.
You remember a 49 Cadillac we looked at down at your place a couple of weeks ago?
I'm not sure. 49 Cad?
That's right. Whatever became of that car?
Oh, now I remember. Yeah, I sold that car to Jake's over in Vermont.
Thought you told us you couldn't fix it up.
I don't remember. You sure you don't mean some other car now?
No, it's the same one. You know the one we mean. How about it?
How about what?
That was a stolen car, Lester, and you know it. That's a stolen car out there in the yard, isn't it?
What's that hoist then?
There he goes, Joe. All right, Lester, hold it. Stop it, stop, Joe.
All right, now, come on. Stop it, Lester. Stop the hammer.
Go with me.
All right. I'll get the cuffs, Joe.
Come on, get up on your feet.
All right, come on. On your feet.
Stand still.
Rough one, huh?
Yeah.
Come on, Lester. Let's go.
How'd you find out? Who tipped you off?
St. Christopher.
The story you've just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On August 15th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 82, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Friends, one of the first things a detective learns is that you can't rely on snap judgments or first appearances. You get all the evidence first, and then you arrive at a decision. And that's just as true when it comes to choosing a king-size cigarette. Place a Fatima alongside any other king-size cigarette. Now, side by side, they'll look identical. When you smoke them, you'll find a world of difference. You'll find, as I have, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Quality that gives you extra mildness, a much better flavor and aroma. If you haven't smoked Fatimas yet, buy a pack tomorrow and see if you don't agree. In Fatima, the difference is quality.
Herman W. Lester was tried and convicted on 3 counts of grand theft auto and 2 counts of grand theft money, all sentences to run consecutively. Grand theft auto is punishable by imprisonment for a term of 1 to 5 years, grand theft money by a term of 1 to 10 years. The suspect was also filed on by federal authorities for violation of the Dyer Act. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
Stay tuned for Counter Spy, next over many NBC stations.